The following is a special presentation of Riverfront Broadcasting Sports.
A slow roller, going to be a tough play. Hunsley, bare hands on the bounce, a throw. He got him. What a play from Grayson Hunsley on the bare hand.
It's time for Post-8 Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Post-8 Baseball is brought to you by Comtech, True Green Camelon, Edward Jones Financial, Overhead Door, Todd's Electric, Shane's Pharmacy, Jaeger, AGE, First Fidelity, and State Farm Becky Potsuba Agency.
This will be flown out by Charlie Simpson out to left field. Going back, it is gone! Charlie Simpson hits a two-run home run, and it's a 3-2 ball game.
Post-8 Baseball is also brought to you by Capital City Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota, Oahe Federal Credit Union, Missouri River Dentistry, Dakota Sprinkler and Landscaping, Agtegra, Farting Electric, Envirotech, and Kruger Climate Systems.
Here's a line shot out and towards left center field, diving and making the catch out in center is Sun and Shine. And a tip of the cap from the head coach.
Post-8 Baseball is also brought to you by Stalkin Peterson LLP, Wagner Auto, the South Dakota Office of Attorney General, Division of Consumer Protection, Gales Gas, First United Methodist Church, Karsten Erickson Roofing and Construction, Beck Motors, and May Adam.
Gets with a fly ball to left field. That one is going back to the wall. It's out of here. A 3-run homer for Dawson Getz. And it's a 4-0 lead for the Eights.
And by American Family Insurance Brittany Schaffelbein Agency, Lamb Motors, Bank West, CHS River Plains, Faith Lutheran Church, Graham Tire, Kathy's Sunshine Properties, Venture Communications, and the American of Fort Pierre. And now, Post-8 Baseball on KCCR.
And a good morning as we welcome you to the Fitz here in Rapid City as we are set for our first game of the Veterans Classic, the very first game of the Veterans Classic, as Post-8 will take on this Scottsbluff, Nebraska team, Westco Zephyrs, before then facing the Laramie, Wyoming team coming up here after we get done with game number 1. As Post-8 will play 4 games guaranteed, will be 5 games guaranteed, but 4 games that we know the schedule of what they're going to play. 2 today, 1 tomorrow, and 1 on Saturday. And then they'll play a game on Sunday, and that'll all determine on how they finish in this Veterans Classic in pool play. They will face Post 22 tomorrow night. That is the important game of the weekend because it will count towards the standings. You want to win all the games that you play, but if you're going to win just one this weekend, and it's going to be a tough one to win on Friday night, but it would be against Post 22. Now, this Westco Zephyrs team, they come in at 5-5, and it would be good to start on a winning note for this Post-8 team. They got their first win in Game 2 against Sioux Falls East on Tuesday, a couple days ago, after being walked off in Game 1. This team is very close, an extra innings loss and a walk-off loss to being 3-1 instead of being 1-3. The Brookings loss, they put that behind them from last Thursday into Tuesday, and now here into today, they're looking for a win. They are the home team in game number 1. They will most likely then be the home team in game 2. Laramie will probably just take the spot of Westco after they're done. They are determined by the dugouts on who is the home team. Post-8 will be the road team tomorrow when they face off against Post 22 because the Hard Hats will be home. Same as 320 on the other side of the bracket. They will be home for all their games as well. So Post-8 and Westco Zephyrs. The Westco Zephyrs wearing their orange jerseys, but they're orange and green with the head coach for Westco as Liptak. Coach Liptak is wearing his green pullover. Coach Iverson wearing his white pullover. But they're wearing orange. Post-8 wearing their green jerseys as we're just about set here for first pitch between Pierre and Westco. This Post-8 team, they will be playing for a lot today. A lot of heavy hearts for this Post-8 team as they, without going into too much detail, a loss of a friend for a lot of these guys on the team, both football, wrestling, and baseball. This is a team that's got some heavy hearts. They'll be playing for a lot for their friend here this weekend. We'll come back in 3 minutes. We'll have first pitch between Pierre and Westco. And listen to Post-Day Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Want technology solutions you can trust from a neighbor you know? Comtech, locally owned and serving Pierre and surrounding area since 2009, is dedicated to keeping your home, farm, and business connected and secure. We offer a full range of services, from audio and video, security, surveillance, and networking with expert installation and support. Visit our storefront, call us at 605-224-4066, or visit our website, comtechplus.com, to experience the Comtech difference. Comtech, your local technology experts.
Hey, yo, Speedo's Lawn Care.
Hello. Say, my yard's in rough shape. It's got weeds, brown spots, and crabgrass.
No problemo. What shade of green you need? We got 31 shades of green over here. Even the latest shade of septic tank grass green. That one just naturally gives off a glow.
Call the professionals at True Green. They know how to get your lawn healthy and keep it healthy. They guarantee it. All technicians are trained and certified.
Call True Green, 224-1916.
As we welcome you back here as we get set for first pitch between Post States and Westco Zephyrs here on a KCCR. As we go through the starting lineups, first for the visitor Westco Zephyrs, they will have Eric Sabala, the second baseman, will lead things off. It'll be followed by Oscar Felix, the shortstop. Jarrell Mendez, the center fielder, will bat third. Thatcher Tamalo, the right fielder, will bat fourth. It'll be Caleb Berta, the left fielder, batting fifth. Dawson Barrett, the catcher, batting sixth. Owen Latham, the first baseman, will bat seventh. It'll be Blake Grasmick, the third baseman, batting eighth. And Andrew Kleiner, the DH, will bat ninth. Dustin Rector, the pitcher for Westco Zephyrs, will be on the mound. They will go against Hudson Stosher for this Post-State team, as he threw 11 2/3 innings during the spring. He has thrown an inning so far, but 11 2/3 during the spring in 2 starts. He had 3 saves overall for the Governors, 3.6 ERA, 1.2 WHIP, and a 179 batting average against. As the first pitch will be upstairs for ball 1, as we are underway here this morning at 8:50 local time. As we will play 2 today and then 1 on each of the last 3 days of this term, as the 1-0 pitch is taken for strike 1, and the count is even at a ball and a strike. Stosher has thrown 1 inning, gave up 3 runs in that 1 inning. That'll hit the bottom of the zone for a strike. The count's 1-2 here to Sabala. So that ERA is very much inflated. The WHIP is inflated. Batting average against is inflated, but a strong performance, as this will be just foul off the mid of Charlie Simpson. But a strong performance here for Hudson Stosher. That ERA dips down tremendously, along with the WHIP and the batting average against. If he can go, 5-6 innings of great baseball by the end of this ball game. Here's the 1-2 now from Hudson Stosher. That'll be upstairs, and the count is now at 2 balls and 2 strikes. As we're just underway here on this Thursday morning, rain has come through the area, and maybe still raining as well, but the all-turf field, you're not worried about it. You only would be worried about thunder or lightning. There's a swing and a miss and a strikeout of Sabala, and they're the first out recorded. Stosher will get the strikeout, and 1 down here to open up the top of the first. Defensively for the Eights, Ridge Leinbach is out in left. Carter Shufflemine is playing center, and Sutton Sunshine out in right. Grayson Hunsley at third. Dawson Getz at short. Parker O'Brien at second. J.J. Buckles at first. And Charlie Simpson behind the plate. That's Hudson Stosher working from the stretch with nobody on base with 1 out. Drops in the curveball for strike 1 to Oscar Felix. The 5-5 Westco Zephyrs team don't have a lot of guys on their roster so far. Oscar Felix, though, hitting .394. This is a team that hits .313 in their 10 games at 5-5. As Felix has got 2 doubles, 10 runs driven in, which is second on the team behind Mendez, who's the number 3 hitter, and of course would lead the team. Where you like to see your best hitters is that top of the order. There's a swing and a miss, another off-speed pitch there from Stosher, and the count's 1-2 here to Oscar Felix. A lot of different scenarios of when Post-State could play on Sunday. There's a line shot in up the middle into center field for a base hit. And the One out single. Put the first runner on base, and it brings up Jarrell Mendez. And Jarrell Mendez is .586 so far in 29 at-bats, 17 for 29. 4 doubles, does have the lone home run, and 14 runs driven in. He is going to be a tough out here in this ball game, and that tells you how important it is to get those guys out in front of him. There's a high fly ball to left field. Ridge Lineback will turn. Watch that one hit over the top of the wall for a home run. It hit, I believe, the number 34 out in left field. And that got out of here in a hurry. A 2-run shot for Mendez, his second of the season. RBIs 15 and 16. And it took very little time to tell you how good Mendez is. And he shows it right away. A 2-run homer. And Westco leads it 2-0. After a leadoff strikeout, the 1-out single, and the first pitch that Mendez sees carries out for a 2-run homer. 325 down the left field line. 393 out in deep left center field, mostly almost straightaway centers, 393 in the alleys. As there's the first pitch, swing and a miss from Thatcher Tamala, the right fielder. And a big start for the Westco Zephyrs. Here's the 0-1. That'll be upstairs, and the count's 1-1 here to Thatcher Tamala. 222 batting average so far, 6 for 27, 4 runs driven in. All 6 of his hits have been singles for Tamala. 1-1 pitch, swing and a miss, and the count's 1-2. A lot of game left. And with Post 8 hitting the ball as well as they did through the first 4 games, obviously the average still a little under 300. There's another strikeout for Stosher as Tamala swings and misses. And there's now 2 down here at the top of the first. That's a good comeback at bat for Hudson Stosher after giving up the home run. Gets another strikeout. Now Caleb Berta, the left fielder, to the plate. A lot of baseball left to go in this game. 8s haven't even come to the plate yet. And hit like they have been through the first 4 games. You know that 2 runs shouldn't be enough to beat you. The amount of extra base hits that the 8s have had, 10 of their 29 hits have been extra base hits. There's a swing and a miss as Berta was behind in the fastball of Stosher. And the count goes to 1-1. Going out left field to retrieve that home run ball. There one be fouled back out of play, and the count's now 1-2. It is a dreary start to this Veterans Classic. 53 degrees here in Rapid City. Rain is falling. The high is only 60 today, so we're not going to get much warmer than it is right now. That pitch will be flown out towards right center field. Long run, moving over, and it will be Sutton Sunshine to make the catch and retire the side here in the top of the first. But 2-run score on 2 hits, being the 2-run shot by Jarrell Mendez. No errors and no one left on base. 2-0 lead for Westco after the end of the top of the first. The 8s will come to the plate. You're listening to Post 8 Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Back in a minute. Financial investments are very important, but so are the investments of time, patience, and encouragement our young athletes receive from their coaches, teachers, and mentors. Your Pierre area Edward Jones Financial Advisors understand this. That's why Edward Jones is a proud sponsor of Governor Athletics on KCCR. Go Govs! For all your investment needs, call or stop by one of our offices to visit with your Pierre area Edward Jones Financial Advisor. Edward Jones, member SIPC. Stolken Peterson LLP has been your local CPA firm for over 40 years, offering tax preparation, bookkeeping, payroll, and consulting services. If your business, farm, or ranch needs professional, accurate, and reliable services, we are your firm. Our clients are our #1 priority. If you need a higher level of accounting service, give us a call at 605-224-5828. That's Stolken Peterson LLP, 222 East Missouri Avenue in Pierre. Bottom of the first, 2-0 lead on the American Family Insurance Printing Shufflebine scoreboard for the Westco Zephyrs, as the 8s lineup will look like this. Carter Shufflebine lead off. He's the center fielder. Sutton Sunshine, the right fielder, batting second. Charlie Simpson, the catcher, batting third. Dawson Getz in the cleanup spot. He's the shortstop. Ridge Lineback, the left fielder, batting fifth. Parker O'Brien, the second baseman, will bat sixth. Grayson Hunsley, the third baseman, batting seventh. J.J. Buchholz, first baseman, will bat eighth. And Nolan Peterson, the DH, is in the number 9 spot with Hudson Stosher obviously not hitting as the starting pitcher for the Eights. They go against Dustin Rector, as Rector so far 8 1/3 innings. This will be just his second start, but 4th appearance overall. He is 1-1 overall on the season. He has given up 11 hits, 10 runs, 4 of them earned though. Only 4 runs earned on the 10 runs he's given up. 4 walks, 8 strikeouts, an ERA at 3.36, a whip at 1.8, batting average against at 289. As Carter Schuffelbein will come to the plate to lead us off here in the bottom of the first inning. This team for Post 8 hitting .266, but again, 10 extra base hits of the 29 hits in total, so a third of those hits with 3 doubles and 7 triples. A lot of those triples came on that first doubleheader, as the first pitch will miss maybe a little low, maybe a little outside to Schuffelbein for ball 1. Schuffelbein's hitting .429 to start the season, 3 of 7 so far on the year. 1 run driven in. He did not play in that first doubleheader. Here's a ground ball that'll get through just in front of the glove of the shortstop into left field. And Schuffelbein continues his hot start, now hitting .500, 4 of 8 to open up the summer. Leadoff man is on base to kick off the bottom of the first and brings up Suddenshine. Suddenshine hitting .333, 4 of 12 so far. He does have a triple. Looking for his first RBI still. Schuffelbein, as I mentioned, did not play in the opening season doubleheader. He was at the state track meet that weekend and picking up some what would be some all-time South Dakota times, but end up being second in a couple of them. And just a wild, that state track meet was just the track season in general for South Dakota was just unreal, that guys and girls were beating state records, as there's a pickoff and easily back in safely as Schuffelbein. They were beating state records, but they were getting second place because somebody was better than them. Not many times you can say, hey, we broke a state record or at an all-time South Dakota time, but we didn't even get first place. Another pickoff attempt and diving back in safely as Schuffelbein. There's a lot of great talent on the track and field side that will be coming back for Pierre, but also the state of South Dakota. Runner takes off. Pitch will be high. The throw to second, diving head first, and easily sliding in safely, stealing the bases, Schuffelbein, as the count goes to 1-1. Now here to Suddenshine. So runner in scoring position, Post 8, 209 so far with runners in scoring position on the season. Suddenshine looking for his first hits with a runner in scoring position as well. Here's a 1-1 pitch to him from Rector. He'll deliver, and Suddenshine will ground it over towards the third baseman. He will field. The throw will go to first, and that will retire Suddenshine. Too far on the left side, and Schuffelbein couldn't advance on the play. So there is now 1 down here in the bottom of the first, and it will bring up Charlie Simpson. Defensively for Westco, it is Caleb Berta in left. Jerome Mendez, the center fielder, hit the home run in the first inning. Thatcher Tamala, the right fielder. Blake Grasmick, the third baseman. Oscar Felix, the shortstop. As the first pitch will miss low to Charlie Simpson. Eric Sabala, the second baseman. The first baseman is Owen Latham. Behind the plate is Dawson Barrett. And Dustin Rector on the mound for the Westco Zephyrs. The right-hander will step off and throw it to second, and back in standing up safely is Schuffelbein. You are listening to KCCR Pierre, Riverfront Broadcasting Station. Good morning to you still in the capital city. 10 o'clock, just past 10 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock locally here out in Rapid City. First games of the Veterans Classic. There's one other game going on. Obviously, that's over on the 320 side. And that 320 field has Sturgis and Gary, Nebraska playing in the first game. Several South Dakota teams are in this. Huron's in the same pool as Post 8 and Post 22. And that'll be taken for a strike at the top of the zone for Simpson. That counts 1-1. But we will not see Huron. Actually, we wouldn't even see Huron even if Sunday would permit it, because we're not going to play anybody in the same pool. We're going to play the opposite team in the pool wherever Post 8 places. Here's a ground ball left side again. Schuffelbein again cannot advance. The throw from the shortstop will be in time to retire Simpson as Felix fires it on to first, and there's now 2 down. 2 ground balls to the left side, unable to move Shufflebind from second to third. And it's now Dawson Getz, up to him to try and score that run to pull the Eights back within 1. Dawson Getz, .357 average so far on the summer. Does have a triple, 5 runs driven in, which is the team high. He's hitting .500 with runners in scoring position, and this will be a balk charge to Dustin Rector that will move Shufflebind over to third. And I had my head down looking at the stats, so I did not see exactly what happened on the balk call, but Rector, I would assume that hesitated a little bit before he was throwing over to second. But now a base hit or wild pitch can score Shufflebind. Here's the first pitch to Getz. That'll be upstairs for ball 1. I was mentioning that 4 of the 5 RBIs for Getz so far in the season has come with 2 outs. He's got half of the 2-out RBIs for the Eights. Swing and a miss. Getz will cut over the top with the off-speed pitch from Rector, and the count's 1-1. 2 runs on 2 hits. It was a single followed by a 2-run homer in the top of the first for Scottsbluff, Westco. The A's with the lone hit. That is Shufflebind, who's now at third base. There's another swing and a miss, another off-speed pitch. And now you either think about a fastball in the top of the zone, or you throw one more off-speed pitch at Getz. Shufflebind leads away from third. Here's the 1-2 pitch. That'll bounce in, that'll get away, and that will score the run. Shufflebind will come in to score to make it a 2-1 game. That was the one thing that you didn't want to have happen, was spiking a curveball that was going to get away from the catcher. And Barrett, who tried to block it up, bounced too far to the right, and Shufflebind, those sometimes can be tricky depending on where that ball is bouncing to the right, but it bounced too far out in front and to the right that Shufflebind easily read that one and scores standing up to make it a 2-1 game. So no RBI for Getz, but he can still extend the inning out to Ridge Leimbach. Now here's the 2-2. That'll be behind Getz into the backstop, and the count's now 3-2. Do mention, too, that it is a shorter backstop, so if you don't get the best jump, obviously that one went towards the first base dugout, which made it a lot easier. But that ball bounced and rolled all the way back towards the catcher, where if that had gotten just be the first one to get past Barrett, Shufflebind was probably out at the plate if he had taken off. 3-2 pitch. That one just cuts back a little bit too far inside. They try to get it around the plate, but gets backed away from it, takes it for ball 4, and extends the inning now to Ridge Leimbach. Ridge Leimbach so far in the season, .273 average, double, triple on his 3 hits, 2 runs driven in. He's taken cuts so far in the season that if he can get a hold of one, as this will be fouled away on the right side out of play, if he can get a hold of one, then he could make this a 3-2 ball game in one swing. In 325 down the left field line. I believe it's 350, and I got to put my head out the window. 330, excuse me, down the right field line. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That'll be outside, and the counts, or inside, excuse me, the counts 1-1. Again, 393 out in the more center, left center, and center, right center alleys. Here at the Fitz, here's a 1-1 pitch. That's at the knees for a strike, and the counts 1-2. 2021 was the first time that they played baseball out here at the Fitz in the all-turf field. Here's the 1-2 pitch. This will be flown out towards center field. Casually gliding over to his left as Mendez to make the catch, and that will retire the side as the center fielder grabs it. 1 run scores on 1 hit, no errors, and no one left on base. 1 completes here at the Fitz. 2-1 lead for Westco over Pierre. Back in a minute on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Building a home. It's the biggest investment most of us make in a lifetime. Not to mention it's a decision that, well, you pretty much live with day and night. The quality of the workmanship stares back at you like a reflection. It also affects the value of your investment. Choosing the right contractor is critical. Kruger Contracting is that contractor. Call 222-2523. Quality workmanship and materials completed on time. Kruger Contracting. In a word, quality. Call 222-2523.
Becky Pottsaba and State Farm Insurance are here to help you with your insurance and banking needs. State Farm's not just insurance. It's banking, investments, IRAs, loans, and a whole lot more. We offer guidance in a personal and caring way that helps you manage the risks of everyday life, recover from the unexpected, and find ways to control costs so you can realize your dreams. We know how life is, and we're here for you. Stop in to see Becky at 1315 East Wells Avenue in Pierre, or call Becky at 224-4173.
We welcome you back. It is the top of the second and a 2-1 lead on the American Family Insurance Brittany Shufflebite scoreboard for the Westco Zephyrs over Pierre Post States. It'll be 6, 7, and 8. Dawson Barrett, Owen Latham, and Blake Grasmick, the first three hitters here in the top of the second here at the Fitz in Rapid City. Before we got to the end of that inning, talking about this Fitz field, 2020 was the last year that they played before they renovated it in that summer, which they hosted the state tournament, which ended up being just 4 teams, not the usual 8 because of COVID and everything else. But we ended up playing it at 320's field because they had started the demolition and the process of getting everything back up and going for, with the all-turf field. So that caused us to move it over to 320's field for that tournament. That'll be outside. The count's 2-1 here to Dawson Barrett. That was a tournament. Coach Iverson, that was his last year playing with Post 8. 2-1 pitch was upstairs. The count's 3-1. We end up playing Saturday night into Sunday morning, at least Central Time, I believe. I don't think we end up getting, I think we got done somewhere around 11:30 Mountain Time. Here's a 3-1 pitch. That'll be upstairs for ball 4 and a leadoff walk issued here to Dawson Barrett. Leadoff man is on base to kick off the top of the second. It's now Owen Latham, the first baseman. Latham, he is hitting .240 on the season. Does have a double, 5 runs driven in. Team batting average of .313 through 10 games for Westco, which then tells you that this is a team that will put the ball in play, and you have to have sharp defense for the Eights. Showing bunt, runner takes off, pulling it back. The throw to second will be wide. Actually hits the runner in Barrett. So he is on at second with a stolen base. Would have been close with the throw, the way the throw was, but stealing second anyway is Barrett. It was taken high for ball 1. And now Charlie Simpson will make his way out and have a conversation with Stosher to make sure they're on the same page with what they want to do on the signs, what number sign they want to go with the runner on second. But with the solid defense that Post 8 wants to play, what helps you is an all-turf field, especially the all-turf infield. Everything that hits, especially here at Post 22, and pretty much everywhere across the state, takes really good care of their all-turf fields or turf infields, as it'll miss low and the count's 2-0 here to Latham. You're going to get true hops, and you're not going to hit. There's not going to be too many rocks that you're going to find on an all-turf field. The hops are going to be as true as they possibly can be. As well as the Heights Stadium is, every once in a while there's that little piece of dirt that might end up causing a bad hop. The lip might cause a bad hop, but this one is as pretty even keel as you can get, as it counts 2-1. That helps you stay down on the baseball. It helps you know that that hop's not going to go from a high to a low hop. This will be fouled back behind us. The count's now 2-2. Again, rain still might be falling a little bit here at the Fitz. But for the most part, maybe we can get that rain to move out here in Rapid City. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Be fouled back and out of play, and we'll do it again here at 2-2. looking at the rest of the weekend weather-wise is looking pretty good for, Friday night might be a little bit cooler by the time that the game gets rolling or by the end of the game. 2-2 pitch again, grounded over left side. Dawson Getz will have to charge. He will field his throw to first. Good play there from Dawson Getz to get the runner out at first, and Owen Latham. And again, with that slow roller, a little bit of indecision on the runner at second base and Barrett. He might have been able to take third with the way the roll was going, because the play was taking Getz more towards home and more towards towards first base, but still could not advance. So there is still one on and one out on the 6-3 ground out. And then Blake Grasmick, the third baseman, will dig in for the first time. Stosher working from the stretch. Here's the first pitch to him. Missing low for ball one. Blake Grasmick not on the stat sheet for Westco, so would assume this would be his first game and first chance to swing the bat as it counts 1-1. Here to Grasmick. They've not played since last Thursday, so everybody for Westco is available to pitch all weekend. All of that, everybody's available, especially in day number one, as that curveball will drop in for a strike, and the count's 1-2. And this is, for Grasmick, his first game for Westco and first at-bats. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Stosher. That'll be upstairs, and the count's 2-2. And for Post 8, obviously what they had for pitching on Tuesday limits what they have for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then things are back open for those that pitched on Tuesday that would be able to throw for sure on Sunday. This is upstairs, and the count's 3-2. But as you are playing in this tournament, and Post 22 is your opponent on Friday, and that's your only South Dakota opponent, you build your rotation around Friday night's game. Whoever you have is going to throw Friday night. This will be upstairs for ball 4, and it's the second walk of the inning. Now first and second with one out, and it brings up the number 9 man, Andrew Kleiner. If you have Ridge Lineback throwing Friday, you're throwing Ridge Lineback on Friday, regardless of how things work for you today in your two games. If Ridge Lineback is your starter on Friday, or whoever it might be, well, maybe it's, Danberg I don't think is available because of pitch count, but whoever your guy is, you're not deviating away from that one. And then when you get into Saturday, then you're saying, okay, we're going to throw guys. I think you play Wednesday again next week, so you're going to throw guys at that point however you need to on Saturday and Sunday, depending on how the game goes. You might move things around, but really you're looking at the rotation is built around what Friday night is for Post 22 against Post 22. Counts 2-0 here to Andrew Kleiner, the DH. He's hitting 143 so far in the season. It'll be upstairs, and it's now 3-0 here from Hudson Stosher. The number 9 man would say that he's probably got the red light. I think only Mendez might be the only guy in the entire ballpark right now that would have a green light on 3-0. Here's a 3-0 pitch. That one stays upstairs, and the bases are now loaded as we go back to the top of the order. Third walk of the inning issued by Stosher. And it's now Eric Sabala, excuse me. He struck out swinging in his first at-bats. And Charlie Simpson will have a conversation with this starting pitcher, Hudson Stosher. The flip side of it, and obviously, the one game against Brookings didn't go the way that Post 8 wanted, didn't get the pitching that they wanted. This is a team that has a lot of depth pitching-wise that they can go to throughout the weekend. Here's the first pitch now to Sabala. There's a line shot into left field. That'll one-hop in front of Lineback. Bounces off of his glove. Stays right next to him. Runner will take off for third. The throw to third will be wide. And it'll be Simpson that will have to back it up. And it'll be a single to score a run. And then an air charge to line back that will allow everybody else to advance. They probably would have scored 2, so we'll give 2 RBIs to Sabala. But it's second and third now with 1 away, and it's a 4-1 lead for Westco. And Oscar Felix, who singled before he was brought in by the home run, will come to the plate. So a single and then an error makes it second and third with 1 away here in the top of the second inning. Here's the first pitch to Felix. That's at the top of the zone for strike 1. Corners are in. Middle stays back. A hard ground ball. They can still go home with it, being the turf field. 0-1 pitch. It'll be upstairs. The count's now 1-1. They're playing a little bit more even or more middle depth right now, especially Dawson Getz. O'Brien's a little bit farther back. It's a little bit different on, again, a natural grass infield and an all-turf infield. Here's a ground ball. Hunsley will field. Grayson Hunsley. His throw to first is right on time. And there's now 2 down. And a good play there from Hunsley to look the runner back. He was kind of far off, but Grayson Hunsley knew that that play was going to be made to first, and if he would have hesitated at all, could have resulted in the bases loaded. He wasn't far enough away. And they will walk Jarrell Mendez to load the bases, and I believe that's a smart play to make. Obviously, you're getting the number 4 man, the cleanup hitter, and Thatcher Tamala to the plate. But after what you saw Mendez do, and he's hitting 600 on the season for Mendez, you say let's give the force out anywhere and go after the cleanup man. First pitch will be outside for ball 1. And of course, an intentional walk, you just say we're going to give 4 pitches, we're going to move him along with pitch count. That saves Hudson Stosher 4 pitches. If you're going to intentionally walk him, you don't have to play it out. As time is called by Thatcher Tamala. He struck out swinging back in the top of the first inning. This is the 8th man to come to the plate. And he can really open things up, but Hudson Stosher can get him here, and a 4-1 lead doesn't sound so bad. A 4-1 deficit doesn't sound so bad going to the bottom of the second. There's a swing and a miss by Tamala, and the count's 1-1. Bases are loaded here with 2 outs. 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss, and the count's now 1-2. And Stosher a strike away from getting out of this inning with limited damage. 2 runs on just 1 hit so far. The bases loaded, 3 walks and an intentional walk, along with an error. 1-2 pitch. That one's fouled back to the netting, and we'll do it again here at 1-2. The Eights will have 6, 7, and 8. Parker O'Brien, Grayson Hunsley, and J.J. Buckles due up in the bottom of the second. Stosher looking for the strikeout. 1-2. That one will be taken for a strike 3 and retiring the side, as Stosher will get the bases loaded stranded. Another 2-run score on just 1 hit, 1 error, and 3 men left on base. It's a 4-1 lead for Westco over Pierre at the end of an inning and a half. Back in a minute on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Is it the competition that keeps bringing you back? The long-standing rivalries? Or is it seeing friends again and cheering on your favorite team? At First Dakota, we're here for it all. We appreciate the fans, the players, the coaches and officials, the concessions crew. The shared community experience is part of what makes life here great, and we're here for it. See you at the game. First Dakota National Bank, member FDIC.
For over 60 years, Ferding Electric has been powering homes and businesses across central South Dakota. When you need reliable electrical service, trust the experts with decades of experience. Whether it's a simple residential repair, a complex commercial installation, or even electrical work on your farm, Ferding Electric has you covered. And if you're tired of searching everywhere for that hard-to-find bulb, Ferding Electric carries a wide selection of bulbs, including those hard-to-find fluorescent and specialty options. Visit us at 2903 East Elizabeth Street or call today, 605-224-8684.
Back here, bottom of the second, it is a 4-1 lead of the American Family Insurance Brittany Schuffelbein scoreboard for the Westco Zephyrs. As the Eights here at the bottom of the second, we'll have Parker O'Brien, Grayson Hunsley, and J.J. Buckles. 6, 7, and 8s second baseman, third baseman, first baseman, all up here for Post State. To try and come back from now a 3-run deficit. They did score one. It was Schuffelbein who led off the bottom of the first with a single, stole second, got to third on a balk, and then came home on a wild pitch. The first pitch will miss low for ball one. That is one way to get around the bases. A stolen base, a balk, and a wild pitch. You moved without the ball. I mean, the ball was put in play, but he moved every base without the ball being put into play in a different way. And that was over for strike one. The only thing that you could do would be, I guess, a sac bunt or issued by a walk or hit by a pitch. Here's a ground ball, third base side. Behind the bag, the field of the throw is going to not be in time. And it will be an infield single for Parker O'Brien to lead off the bottom of the second. Good job there by O'Brien to get down the line. And the outstretched legs of Latham, he could not corral it in time as Grasmick had to wait on one more hop. And it turns into an infield single for Parker O'Brien. So the leadoff man is on for the second straight inning by a single. And now Grayson Hunsley to the plate. First pitch to him. He'll foul that one back for strike one. Grayson Hunsley, so far, he's looking still for that first hit of the summer. 0 for 10 so far. Has drawn 2 walks. And sometimes these super seniors come back, and it does take them a little bit of time to get back into the swing of things. There's a line shot, and there's your first hit of the season for Grayson Hunsley, and it's first and second with nobody out. I'm just going to also comment on the fact that Hunsley was one of the best 8s to end the summer. He mentioned that last Thursday, but he was playing probably the best baseball of his career at the end of that summer. And whether he was debating on being a super senior or not, maybe he hadn't thought about it at that point, but I think the way he ended that summer was a good indication that he was wanting to play some more baseball and that he wanted to come back as a super senior. First pitch will miss low for ball one to J.J. Buckles, the first baseman. Buckles is hitting .250, got his first hits this past Tuesday. 1 for 4 so far with an RBI. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Buckles. He'll sky that one foul. It'll play on the left side as that one will get out of the fits. And the count's now 1-1. O'Brien leads away from second. Hunsley at first. Here's the 1-1. Buckles will drop down a bunt, and it will be just foul. And the count's now 1-2. Trying to move both those guys into scoring position for Nolan Peterson. That's a heck of a number 9 man to be in the order for Nolan Peterson. Tell you that there could be a lot of depth for this post-state lineup as well. He was consistently in the top half of the order for post-state last year. Here's the 1-2 pitch. That'll miss low. Good take there from Buckles. And the count's now even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. With 2 on here in the bottom of the second, nobody out. Here's the 2-2. That one's fouled back off the catcher of Barrett, and the count remains at 2-2. It is a light crowd here at the Fitz. Scottsbluff, Nebraska, a 4-hour drive. And then you're playing at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. Same for Post State. They took the bus. Both teams were here last night. Post State obviously took the bus back out here last night, and they'll return to Pierre after the doubleheader as Buckles will strike out swinging on a pitch in the turf. And there's one down here at the bottom of the second, and it brings up the number 9 man, Nolan Peterson. But because they don't play until 7 o'clock Mountain Time tomorrow night, and you're going to be done by somewhere around 1 to 2 o'clock Mountain Time today, take the bus home and then travel back for the weekend. First pitch to Nolan Peterson is a swing and a miss for strike one. Nolan Peterson so far on the season, he is just 1 for 10, does have an RBI single. Another guy that hit really well last summer and just trying to get back into the groove. And by the time that we get to the middle of the summer, or maybe even through the end of this weekend, that guy that's going to get a lot of base hits for Post State. 1-1. That one is fouled at the plate off of Barrett again. The count's now 1-2. Top of the order, Carter Shufflebein is due up next. Then on top of the light crowd, if you're in Rapid City and want to check out baseball games, you're probably waiting for the rain to stop before you start checking out a lot of baseball games. There is a nice overhang and the grandstand, keep you dry, but it's not the warmest of days here early on in June. Here's 1-2 pitch. That one's ripped foul down the third base line. It'll kick its way into fair territory, so the left fielder in Berta will almost exactly where he was positioned to start the pitch, where he picks up the ball. The count remains at 1-2. One-two pitch from Rector. That one will miss low. Good take there from Peterson. It was a off-speed pitch that Peterson tracked the whole way. It looked good for probably 80 to 90% of the travel from the hand to the plate. It was able to hold up. Now the count's 2-2. The 2-2 on its way. There's the ground ball, one hopper, knocked down by the second baseman. Flipped to second for one, back to first. Will be wide of the bag, but Peterson was over there safely. That was a tough play for the runners because it was hit high enough that maybe the second baseman could have made the catch. It turns into a fielder's choice. But the runners couldn't take off right away. Had to freeze on the line drive. Hunsley was retired 4-6 on the ground out. And, of course, it was enough anyway where that Hunsley, even if he's taken off as soon as the pitch was hit, he still wasn't going to make it to second anyway because it was a good job by Sabala to knock it down and flip to second. First pitch is over for strike one to Shufflebein. But this is a big spot here for the Eights, down by 3 in the bottom of the second. There's 2 outs. Runners at first and third. A base hit makes it a 4-2 game somewhere in the gap. Can make this a 1-run ball game. 0-1 pitch. Shufflebein will fly this out towards right center field, and the right fielder will call for it, make the catch, and retire the side as Tamala will retire Shufflebein. No runs, 2 hits in the inning, no errors, and 2 men left on base. We head to the top of the third. It is a 4-1 lead for Westco over Pierre. Back in a minute on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Venture Communications has deep roots in rural South Dakota. Venture now proudly provides fiber to the home with 100% of our customers, enabling them to enjoy super fast and reliable internet connections. We'd like the opportunity to keep you in touch with the people and resources that matter most. 100% fiber and 100% committed to rural South Dakota. Call Venture Communications today at 605-852-2224, 605-852-2224, or online at venturecom.net.
At Shane's Pharmacy, your healthcare is important, and Shane wants to be the pharmacist to take care of you. Shane's Pharmacy will make sure your prescriptions are filled in a timely manner, they will answer your questions, and they will even deliver to your home or office. Call 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy, the pharmacy you know and trust. The number again is 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy in Fort Pierre, proud to support high school athletics.
It is the top of the third and a 4-1 lead for Westco over Post State on the American Family Insurance Brittany Shufflebein scoreboard. Hudson Stosher working into his third inning of work. Caleb Berta, Dawson Barrett, Owen Latham, 5, 6, and 7 in the order for Westco to lead us off in this third inning. Post State will take on Laramie in the next game. That'll be scheduled for around 11:30 Mountain Time. That more so I don't know how early we'll get rolling, but it's more so to keep everything on time. You get 2.5 hours between first pitch with very limited work that you need to do on a turf field. It won't be a whole lot of, you won't have to worry about a lot of time, but it just kind of keeps you on time. So by the time that Post 22 and Huron play for game 5 of the day, that 7 o'clock Mountain Time, you're most likely starting without extra innings or just wild games. First pitch will bounce in for ball 1 as Berta hops over the top of it. But there was a post 409 that was going to be playing in this tournament. There's a base hit in the left field that'll bounce one hop in front of Ridge Linebach. And the leadoff man is on to kick off the top of the third. That is their fourth hit of the ball game for Westco. And now it's Dawson Barrett, the catcher, who drew a walk to lead off the top of the second. But post 22 18U team, that's not the official Hard Hats team, but a post 22 18U squad takes the place of that post 409 team. But it does move a lot of scheduling around on Saturday. So where they originally were post 8 was scheduled to play Miles City at 12:30 Central Time, they're now going to play the 22 18U team. This one almost hits Barrett's, missing for ball one. So that'll be at 3 o'clock Central Time, 2 o'clock Mountain Time. So that's the lone change for the 8's schedule this weekend, as they'll play at 3 or 2 locally instead of at 11:30 on Saturday. Here's the 1-0 pitch. That'll miss low, and the count's 2-0. So again, it's these two games, this one and immediately following this one will be the two games on Thursday. They'll play at 7 o'clock Mountain Time Friday, and then 2 o'clock Mountain Time on Saturday. And then Sunday will be determined on how they finish. Counts 3-0 here from Hudson Stosher to Dawson Barrett. They can play at 9 a.m., 11:30, 2, or 4 o'clock. That 4 o'clock game will have to be against 320, because regardless of where they fall, they will have 320 and 22 will play the last game of the day. That one's over first strike, and the count's 3-1. And they'll play whatever the 320 pool, if post 8 second, third, first, they'll play that exact same finisher in the post 320 pool on Sunday. Pickoff attempt. The runner was starting to break towards second, but did dive back in safely before Buckles could put the tag on him. I think the lead for Berta was not far enough to make a difference on him taking a step towards second. Runner takes off, and the 3-1 pitch. It is high for ball 4. The tag is applied. He would have been out, but he is safe because it is ball 4. And it's first and second with nobody out. So first and second on the walk. There's a little bit of confusion because Berta was thrown out by 10 feet, and I think he slowed up because he saw it was ball 4. But a little bit of confusion on some of the fans here thinking that obviously he was going to be out, but he is safe. So first and second. Nobody out here in the top of the third. Showing bunt and dropping it down the first base line, but it is foul for strike 1. This is Owen Latham, the first baseman. A lot of baseballs will be moved in and out with the wet turf. This is like a major league game. We'd probably have already gone through about 50 different baseballs at the top of the third inning. 0-1 pitch, showing bunt again, pulling it back, taking it high for ball 1. There's some activity out in the left field bullpen now for post 8. As Stosher, who did not walk a guy in the first inning, had 3 walks in the second, and now another walk here in the third. Showing bunt, 1-1 pitch. That one's bunted foul behind home plates. And the count's now 1-2. 4 runs on 4 hits for Scottsbluff Westco. No errors so far for the Zephyrs. 1 run on 3 hits and no errors for the 8s. One, 2. Not bunting. This will bounce to the right of Simpson, trying to block it up, and it's now a 2-2 count. And runners will move up to second and third, so even though the sacrifice bunt was not laid down by the first baseman Latham, he ends up with a wild pitch to still move him over, and he can drive in both, still with nobody out in the top of the third inning. Leading away from third is Berta. Barrett's on at second. Here's the 2-2. High chopper. Runner will come in to score. Dawson Guess will throw to first. That will retire the runner It's an RBI ground out and a 5-1 lead now for Westco here in the third inning with one down and still a runner on third base. 6-3, the second time that Latham was grounded out to Dawson Getz. But he does get the RBI this time, and Blake Grasmick will come to the plate. He walked as well in his first trip to the plate, in his first official plate appearance of the season. First pitch will catch the outside edge of the strike zone for strike one. Andrew Kleiner, the DH, is on deck. That's number 9 man. Then you get back to the top of the order. Looks like it's Braden Houlette that is warming up out in the left field bullpen. That one will be fouled back, and the count's 0-2. Runner on at third with one away here in the top of the third. 0-2 pitch. Bounces in. Good block there from Simpson. The count's now 1-2. Both Pierre and Laramie are playing 2 games today. Everybody else will play just once. Huron is taking on Post 22. That's another South Dakota game. This will be skied up left side. Foul territory. Long run for everybody. Linebacker will come in, make the catch. And as the shortstop and gets, third baseman Hunsley were running out there. Linebacker made the catch in foul territory. He'll run it back towards the infield. And there's now 2 down here in the top of the third. And we'll bring up the top of the order. Make that the number 9 man, Andrew Kleiner. Big second out for the Aids. And again, 2 runs in the first, 2 runs in the second. Try to limit it to just 1 run here in the top of the third. First pitch, this will get to the backstop, and it didn't come back towards Simpson. And so it will be another run that will score on the wild pitch to make it a 6-1 game. If that had hit just a little bit better off the backstop, could have rolled its way back towards Simpson. But breaking immediately was Barrett, and he scores. So it's now a 6-1 lead, and another time, third time in 3 innings that Westco has scored 2 runs in each inning. This will bounce in. The count's 2-0. (6-1) lead on the American Family Insurance Brittany Shufflebein scoreboard for Westco. 2-0 pitch is fouled out of play on the left side. That one started to stay in the ballpark. Bounced its way out of the fits. And the count goes to 2-1. 2-1 from Stosher is high and outside, and the count's 3-1. Top of the order is due up next, and Eric Sabala. 3-1 pitch here to Kleiner. That'll be upstairs. Another walk issued by Stosher. Second one issued to Kleiner. And now it's Eric Sabala. Sabala had a 2 RBI single in the top of the second. Gave him credit on the second RBI. It was also an error to Ridge Lineback out in left field who misplayed it off the bounce, but more so let the other 2 runs advance to second and third, and more so than that second run scoring. They're already sending the runner to score in Grasmick. Pickoff attempt, and diving back in safely over at first base is Kleiner. So all but the Barrett run that is scored on the wild pitch, the other 5 runs have been driven in by the Westco team. First pitch will be upstairs for ball 1. So runner on at first here with 1 away. Would make that 2 away here at the top of the third inning. Stosher looking for the sign from Simpson. He'll come set, deliver the 1-0. That will be upstairs. That counts 2-0. That was pitch number 71 from Hudson Stosher. Again, Braden Houlette warmed up. He's back in the dugout. Could be the last hitter that Stosher sees This will be a fly ball to center field. Shufflebine moving over, and that was a great play by Shufflebine. He made that look easy and got a huge jump off the read of the bats. And is able to track that down quickly, and that will retire the side. But another 2-run score on just 1 hit in the inning. There were no errors and 1 man left on base. We head to the bottom of the third. 6-1 lead for the Zephyrs over Post 8. Back in a minute on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Yag Air Incorporated is your locally owned ag chemical and seed retailer. Yag Air Incorporated offers reliable ground and aerial application. For the latest seed and chemical pricing, contact Kyle at 605-280-8710 or Tony at 605-280-4771. Yag Air for all your ag chemical and seed needs. Kyle 605-280-8710 or Tony 605-280-4771.
You just got a quote from a company and are now being billed for not choosing them. Many contracts have what's referred to as a contingency agreement. These typically state that if you don't go with them, you, after insurance has approved the repair work, will be charged a percentage of the job they quoted. Ask up front if they charge to provide an estimate. Never sign anything that you haven't fully read or understand. If you have any questions, reach out to the South Dakota Office of Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division at 800-300-1986.
Back here, bottom of the third, it is a 6-1 lead for the Zephyrs over Post State of American Family Insurance. Brittany Shufflebine scoreboard. Having some more activity out in the left field bullpen. Carter Shufflebine is the one racing out there now, along with a couple guys with hoodies on, so you can't tell the numbers. But it looks like maybe Shufflebine might be the next guy in line to throw, although Houlette was warming up. It will be 2, 3, and 4. Sutton, Sun and Shine, Charlie Simpson, and Dawson Getz. Anybody reaches base, it'll go to Rich Leimbach as the Eights will try and come back from a 5-run deficit. First pitch to Sun and Shine, swings and misses at a pitch low for strike 1. Post State lost 2-1 in game 1 on a walk-off single to Sioux Falls East on Tuesday. Then came back and won game number 2, 7-4 against East. As they're 1-3 in South Dakota games right now. And again, this is a team that walk-off loss, a 9-inning loss. If those go their way, they're 3-1 right now instead of being 1-3. It counts up to 1-2 as a pitch missed upstairs to Sun and Shine. Here's the 1-2 from Rector. There's a ground ball to the left side. Going to be a tough play in the hole. Fielded by the shortstop. Long throw, not going to get Sun and Shine. He will easily beat that out for an infield single. Good play there from Felix. And outside of a Jeter-esque type throw, he wasn't going to get Sun and Shine. And it's now Charlie Simpson. Or I guess maybe more so with the sign of the times, more, I guess, Fernando Tatis Jr. type of play out in shortstop. Here's the first pitch to Simpson. It'll be over for strike 1. Now, when Jeter retired, all these kids were still alive, but they just didn't see any of that, the famous throw that Jeter made in the World Series back in the day. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That'll miss low, and the count's now 1-1. More so of someone of Fernando Tatis Jr. that they would rather be talked about than Derek Jeter. Here's the 1-1. Runner takes off. That'll miss low, but it was a balk called as Rector did not come set. And so taking seconds will go Sun and Shine anyway. And that's exactly what the base umpire is saying, that Rector did not come set, although he was somewhat of a quick pitch. Obviously, it was a quick pitch, why he called the ball, but he was trying to come set quickly and mess the timing up of Sun and Shine, trying to steal second. Count remains at 1-1. Simpson will let that one go. They will check him, and he did not swing. Not a bad thought by the catcher, Barrett, but Simpson's bat barely left the shoulder. So the count goes now 2-1. Base hit can make it a 6-2 ball game. Simpson will foul that one back, and the count's now even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Sun and Shine on the infield single in the hole on the left side. He now stands at second on the leadoff man. That's in scoring position here with nobody out. That'll be behind Simpson, maybe on the top of him as well. And the count's now 3-2. Gonna get a base hit. Pull the Eights within 4. They trail at 6-1 here in the bottom of the third. 3-2 pitch. That'll be upstairs for ball 4, and it's now first and second on the walk issued by Rector. And it's now Dawson Getz. He's the only other man to draw the walk so far. Getz walked in the first inning. Just a second walk issued. But it's first and second with nobody out, and a chance for Dawson Getz to extend his team lead in RBIs. They have a courtesy runner. They can courtesy run during this tournament. Otherwise, you can't courtesy run during regular season games, but to allow games to move a little bit quicker, they will allow courtesy runners for the catcher, but Simpson will run for himself. Gets showing bunt, pulls it back, taking it low and inside for ball 1. As Coach Iverson goes through the signs over at third base. What might be up and ready to go if Getz will be trying to show bunt again. He will show bunt. He'll bunt it foul behind home plate, and the count goes now 1-1. I believe Dylan Simmons was talking about this on Tuesday, that bunting is kind of a lost art in the game of baseball. A little bit more prevalent in the high school game. I shouldn't say a little bit more. It is completely prevalent in the high school game compared to Major League Baseball. Outside of I guess now with the shift being banned, you don't bunt the ball down the third base line to try and beat the shift, that you just hardly ever see a bunt being laid down in Major League Baseball. Here's a 1-1 pitch. This will be bunted back in front of the plate. Good bunt there from Getz, and no one covering first, so the bases are loaded. Nobody was over at first base. Whatever play was called was not correctly given to everybody. And so now the bases are loaded here with nobody out, and this is a golden opportunity for the Eights to get right back into this ball game. Be going down as an infield single for Getz. Nobody out with the bases loaded here in the bottom of the third inning. And Coach Dallas Liptak will go out and have a conversation with this infield, and that doesn't, gray hairs get going a little bit faster for coaches when something like that happens. Not so much if you bunt a ball foul, but missing signs and missing what play is supposed to be on for a bunt, the defensive alignment. Those things are the ones that baseball coaches don't really like to have. Ridge Linebach with the bases loaded and nobody out here in the bottom of the third. Chance to put a crooked number up here. First pitch, ground ball, left side. It'll be fielded. The throw will only go to first base. They will retire the man in Linebach. It is an RBI ground out, but there's still two guys in scoring position. Now 6-2. The Eights trail by 4 on the 5-3 RBI ground out. One down here in the bottom of the third. Sunshine scores on the ground outs. Now Parker O'Brien, a base hit, can pull the Eights within 2. Grayson Hunsley and J.J. Buckles, the next two guys looking to get to the plate. First pitch. That'll bounce in. That one bounced well in front of the plate, which allowed Barrett to feel it like an infielder. And it keeps Simpson over at third and gets at second. Here's the 1-0. That'll miss low, and the count's 2-0. 2 infield singles in the inning, sandwiched with a walk in between. One being a ground ball on the left side, the other being what would have been a sacrifice bunt attempt. That one's at the letters for a strike. The count's 2-1. An RBI ground out, so the Eights have put the ball in play 4 times. And it's not left the infield, but yet they have a run and only 1 out. O'Brien will sky this out. Shallow center field. We'll see if they will test the arm. Mendez will make the catch. The tag, the throw coming to the plate off the glove of the first baseman. And so the run will score. I don't think Mendez had enough air behind it to score the run or to get the runner out at home. And easily scoring was Simpson. And a sac fly RBI for Parker O'Brien. And there's now 2 down and a runner on at third. Productive outs for the Eights, scoring 2 runs. And it brings Grayson Hunsley trying to make this a 2-run ball game. And they score 3 here in the bottom of the third. Hunsley first pitch. It was an off-speed pitch that's popped up. That'll be foul, and it will just get out of play behind home plate. And the count's 0-1. Hunsley singled up the middle in his first at-bat in the bottom of the first. Make that the bottom of the second. That was thrown out in the fielder's choice on the Nolan Peterson ground ball. Here's the 0-1. That'll be upstairs. Evens the count of the ball and a strike. Top of the fourth will be 2, 3, and 4. Oscar Felix, Jarrell Mendez, and Thatcher Tamala. Here's the 1-1. I want to be fouled, and then off the bat a second time by Hunsley. It was chopped at the plate, and then it, as on this backswing, hit it again. So a 1-2 count here to Grayson Hunsley. Pitch from Rector will bounce in, and a good block again by Barrett. Dawson gets over at third base, trying to score the 3rd run of the inning for the Eights. Make this a 2-run ball game here at the bottom of the 3rd. 2-2 pitch. Line shot. That is through the left side for a base hit. Scoring will be Getz, an RBI single for Grayson Hunsley. And it's a 6-4 ball game. A 3-run inning here for the Eights. Puts them right back in it. 2 for 2 now on the day is Grayson Hunsley. And J.J. Buckles, who struck out swinging his first at-bat, all of a sudden represents a tying run at the plate for the Eights. Get a big 0 in the top of the 4th inning, and Pierre's going to feel pretty good about where they're sitting at here in this game. Here's a ground ball. That'll be just past Coach Iverson. Had the right hand out, and he was decided against it at the last moment, which was probably a smart decision to let it go. Here's the 0-1. That'll miss low, and the count's even at a ball and a strike. Coach Iverson, he plays amateur baseball with 4 corners. So he's still got the athletic ability still in him, even while he's coaching third. 1-1 pitch, that'll bounce in, the count's 2-1. Grayson Hunsley leads away from first. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. 2-1 pitch. There's one's ripped foul down the third baseline. The count's now 2-2. Years ago, back in the summer of 2019, it might have been the summer of, it was 2019, we went to Minot, and we were here at Post 22, and I had forgotten or left the cords to the board in my laptop that I had. It was before we had video, so that was another bad thing. Is I realized that when we got to Minot the day before the tournament, well, I didn't have anything to power up the board, didn't have the laptop going, so I used my phone to get back to the station. This will be missing low in the count's now 3-2, but I still need a headset. Somehow, and for some reason, which I think there's a little bit more downtime, that the guys for Post 8 had brought a couple Xboxes with them, and Coach Iverson had brought his headset not really thinking of it. This 3-2 pitch will miss for ball 4, and Buckles will draw the walk. And it's first and second now for Nolan Peterson. But I used his Xbox headset to call the game for Post 8 at the Minot tournament all weekend, because just left all the most important 2 pieces of my equipment here at the Fitz. Found them the next year when we got back here in 2020. Here's the first pitch to Nolan Peterson. Ground ball to the third baseman. He will field. The throw will go to first, and it'll be wide. And a run will come in to score. Peterson will take off for second. The play would have been easily to be made at third base, but the third baseman in Grasmick threw it to first and went in front of the first baseman and was not scooped out by Latham. And is now second and third, a 6-5 game, and a huge run to score on the throwing error. And now here is Carter Schuffelbein, the 9th man to come to the plate, and a base hit will give the A's the lead here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. First pitch to Schuffelbein will miss outside for ball 1. You listen to KCCR Pierre, a Riverfront Broadcasting Station. Drew McIntyre back in the studios. John Wickler with you here on this dreary Thursday morning out in Rapid City. 1-0 pitch. That's upstairs, and the count's now 2-0. Westco has scored 2 runs in the first, second, and third innings. They led 6-1 at the going into this bottom of the third, but 4 runs scoring along with the error to score that last run to make it 6-5 game. As Schuffelbein will swing and miss to the 2-0 pitch to make it 2-1. He singled the lead off the bottom of the first inning, flew out to end the bottom of the second. And now a chance to give the A's a lead here with a base hit. 2-1 pitch. That'll catch the inside edge, and the count's now 2-2. Peterson on at second. Buckles over at third. And the 2-2 pitch. Schuffelbein flies it out towards left center field. Long run for everybody, but the center fielder will make the catch in Mendez, and they escape giving up the lead here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. But a 4-run inning for Post 8 as they get 3 hits, 1 error, and 2 men left on base. 3 complete here in Game 1 of the Veterans Classic, and Post 8 is trailing 6-5 to the Westco Zephyrs. Back in a minute on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Summer is here, and Beck Motor Company is stepping up to the plate. As a proud supporter of Legion Baseball, we're hitting it out of the park with unbeatable deals on the Chevy and Cadillac vehicles. Whether you're looking for the power of a Chevy Silverado or the luxury of a Cadillac Escalade, Beck Motor Company has the perfect ride for you. So swing by today, take your game and your drive to the next level. Beck Motor Company, your local Chevy and Cadillac dealer, proud to support our youth and ready to put you behind the wheel of your dream vehicle. www.beck-motors.com, 605-224-5912.
Walking together in faith, living together in faith, working together in faith, that's who we are.
Hi, this is Pastor Sam Hanschke. I hope that our athletes have an excellent and successful season. I pray that God would continue to richly bless them. I invite you to join me in praying for our athletes during the year.
We're Faith Lutheran and we are glad you're here.
Rain is still falling here at the Fitz as we head to the top of the 4th inning, and a 6-5 lead for the Westco Zephyrs over Pierre Post 8. And as Carter Schuffelbein now on the mound, taking over for Hudson Stosher. Porter Hunsley moves into center field. And so that will be the only change. And Nolan Peterson now out of the lineup for the rest of game number 1, as he was the DH, but the DH will go away. So Peterson, Porter Hunsley will be due up 8th this next inning, 9th in the batting order overall. But Carter Schuffelbein will be on the mound here in the top of the 4th inning. He will deal with 2, 3, and 4. Probably not if you had your way on where you would want to start in the order. 2, 3, and 4 is probably not the best way to start your outing. Oscar Felix is 1 for 2. Drell Mendez, he has intentionally walked to get the load the bases with 2 outs in the top of the 2nd, but he's 1 for 1 with a 2-run homer on the only pitch that he has seen. And then Thatcher Tamala is 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. First pitch will come high and inside for ball 1. This will be the first time that Schuffelbein is pitching since last summer. He did not throw during the varsity season during the spring, as that one will be a foul out of play in the right side. If everybody gave a long run to it, the count goes to 1-1. Try and get you the full stats for Hudson Stosher, who threw just under 80 pitches, 72 pitches in total for Hudson Stosher. 3 innings, 4 hits, 6 runs, 6 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Here's the 1-1. That'll bounce in. The count's now 2-1 here to the number 2 man, Oscar Felix. He would love to retire to bring up Mendez with nobody on and out. There's a ground ball, and Schuffelbein will easily field that one. Little toss to first, and the leadoff man retired. 1-3 on the ground out, and it brings up now Jarrell Mendez. Mendez, again, is 1 for 1 with that 2-run homer. He saw just 1 pitch and hit it over the left field wall, bouncing off the number 34. That jersey out in left field. Here's the first pitch to him. He'll sky this one out. Shallow right center field. Porter Hunsley will call for it. He almost slipped out in right center field, but he'll make the catch, and it took just 1 pitch to retire Mendez. So he has seen 2 pitches, a home run and a fly out, even though he's come to the plate 3 times because he intentionally walked. So there's 2 down, and now it's Thatcher Tamala. Schuffelbein will look for a quick inning. Haven't been able to even get you the first pitch is over for strike 1. Let me get you for Schuffelbein. He threw just 2 innings last year in his 2 relief appearances. He gave up 1 hit, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. As it counts 1-1. So the ERA was 0, the WHIP was 1. So not a whole lot. He had a little bit more during the spring of 2024. It counts now 2-1. But he dealt with the back issue through most of the spring and in through the summer, a little bit of the summer. He got a little bit more playing time in the summer because he got healthier as the summer went on. It counts now 2-2. But if he's healthy, arm feels good. He's a very versatile player for Pierre across every position. That one misses, and the count's now 3-2. His role will increase with the football team coming up in the fall. Basketball-wise, his role will continue to increase. Here's the 3-2 pitch. That'll miss for ball 4. And Tamala, after he struck out twice, will walk with 2 outs, and it brings up Caleb Berta. I'd say the only thing that doesn't increase with his role is probably in baseball because he's been utilized as a freshman through now his sophomore year and been a big piece for the Governors and for Post State baseball-wise. First pitch will miss for ball 1 to Caleb Berta, who's 1 for 2. He's singled to lead off the top of the 3rd inning. Schuffelbein working from the stretch for the first time. There's a swing and a miss, and the count's now 1-1. Obviously, it'll actually be a balk that is called. Apparently, he did not come set. So there's a runner on second. And it's a still 1-0 count. So 1-0 count. Here to Caleb Berta. 1-0 pitch. This will be a fly ball to center field. This will be a long run for Hunsley. Still going back on it. He will make the catch on the run. And what would have been at least an RBI double, if not triple, is taken away by Hunsley on a great route to the ball. There's 3 down here in the top of the 4th. No runs, no hits, no errors, and a man left on base. Into the bottom of the 4th, it is a 6-5 lead for Westco over Pierre. Back in a minute on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
As South Dakota's oldest auto dealer, it's our 118th anniversary. Stop by and sign up for drawings, prizes, beef bucks. You save thousands with Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram employee pricing, plus incentives for everyone. Buick GMC incentives up to $6,250. Plus, all of our new vehicles in stock are tariff-free. Check out our huge selection of used vehicles at our 118th anniversary on the windshields and at WagnerAuto.com. Wagner Auto, your one place to go for sales and service, 118 years in Pierre.
When you're
people helping people. Have you ever wondered what the benefits are of becoming a Wahi Federal Credit Union member? At a Wahi Federal Credit Union, we reinvest profits in you. We do this in the form of lower interest rates, higher dividends, and low to no fees. So come check us out or come in at 221 East Pleasant Drive in Pierre, because at a Wahi Federal Credit Union, we treat our members like they own the place because, well, they do.
Wahi Federal Credit Union.
2, 3, and 4 here in the bottom of the fourth, and a 6-5 lead for the Westco Zephyrs over Post 8s. But the 8s, who had 2, 3, and 4 to lead off the third inning, scored 4 runs, and they would like another 4 spot here in the bottom of the fourth. They got the 0 that they needed in the top of the fourth after just that one walk. And it's now a 6-5 game. 5 runs, 6 hits, and an error for Post 8. 6 runs, 4 hits, and an error for Westco. Sun and Shine, who led off with an infield single. That was in the hole on the left side. That's the shortstop and Oscar Felix handled, but no chance to throw out Sun and Shine. He'll wait on the first pitch from Rector, who will miss for low for ball 1. Bottom of the fourth in this 6-5 game, and again, Post 8 will play the next game against Laramie, Wyoming. That is scheduled for 12:30 Central Time, 11:30 Mountain Time. It'll all depend then, depending on how this game ends. And I would assume that we won't start too early, but we won't wait forever. I mean, obviously at 11:10 right now, most likely scenario is that we're not going to get done the next 20 minutes to leave an hour between games, as it counts 3-0 here to Sun and Shine. But then tomorrow we've got just one game on Friday, one game Saturday, and then one game on Sunday. 3-0 pitch, that'll miss for ball 4. Sun and Shine will draw the 4-pitch walk. And the leadoff man is on base in all 4 innings here for the 8s. They scored just once in the first and then end up scoring 4 times in the third. Did not score with the leadoff man reaching. First 2 guys actually reached base in the bottom of the second. They didn't find a way to bring a run home. But here's now Charlie Simpson with 1 on and nobody out here in the bottom of the fourth. He is showing bunt. Pulls it back. Runner takes off for second. Slides head first to Sun and Shine. Gets into center field, but he will stay put at second. He started his slide very, very early compared to what you might see at Hyatt Stadium, because you don't want to overslide past the bag on a turf field. But he does steal it easily. It was taken for ball 1. And so Simpson was deking with the bunt being shown. And now will swing away, as that will be taken for strike 1. The count is even at a ball and a strike. Drew a walk in that bottom of the third. Came around to score on the sac fly RBI from Parker O'Brien. That is upstairs, and the count's 2-1. That 4th run turns into an unearned run in that inning from Dustin Rector. 2-1. That'll miss low. Good take there from Simpson. Counts 3-1. Good hitters count here for him to drive something in the gap or down the line. Tie this ball game up here in the bottom of the fourth. 3-1 pitch. That is upstairs, and Simpson will draw another walk, back-to-back walks to lead off the bottom of the 4th inning, and it might spell the end of the day for Dustin Rector. But Dawson Getz will be to the plate, regardless if Rector stays in the game or not. And it will be a pitching change that will come up. So we'll step aside for a minute. We'll tell you the change as Dustin Rector's day will come to an end. Back in a minute, you're listening to Post 8 Baseball on KCCR. You're watching it on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Most of us already know that Gales Gas of Pierre is the place to call for propane. They offer an automatic fill plan so you never have to worry about running out of propane. They accept debit and credit payments or a budget payment plan to spread out the cost throughout the year so you never have surprises when you get your bill. For delivery, convenience, and great customer service, call Gales Gas at 224-5518. That's Gales Gas at 224-5518.
Dakota Sprinkler and Landscaping wants to make it easy for you to get that lush green lawn and that yard haven that you've been dreaming of. Visit dakotasprinkler.com to make appointments for sprinkler system spring startup, service calls, fall winterization, and landscaping quotes. Trust Dakota Sprinkler and Landscaping's professionals to get you through the planning and installation to make your landscaping needs a reality. Visit dakotasprinkler.com today.
We welcome you back. It is the bottom of the fourth, and it is first and second with nobody out. And George Schmall will be the man on the mound for the Westco Zephyrs. As the Eights are down by 1, but they have a runner in scoring position and 2 on with nobody out. Schmall so far has thrown 6 innings. This will be his 4th appearance and 3rd relief appearance overall. He is 1-0, giving up just 1 hit and 3 runs in those 6 innings. 7 walks, 3 strikeouts, an ERA at 3.5, whip at 1.33. Batting average against at 56. Batting average against the pitching staff at 259. So Schmall doesn't strike out a lot of guys in the 6 innings. He's only averaging 1 every 2 innings. But guys don't get base hits off of him. So Dawson Getz has a chance here with nobody out and runners at first and second to try and tie the game up. He will show bunt, and then he started pulling back, thought about trying the bunt again and more of a swinging bunt for strike 1. Gave up on the curveball and then decided that it was a good enough pitch to try. And once you find yourself a little bit off balance, not going to work well for you. 0-1 pitch. Getz cannot drop the bunt down cleanly. It's fouled away, and the count's now 0-2, and Getz will have to swing away. The other game that would be going on, Sturgis and Platte Valley, which is, unless they change things around, would be Gearing, Nebraska. They have not started that game, or at least according to Game Changer, have not started that game. Assuming that, the way the rain is falling here, it's okay on the turf field. Runner takes off for third. The throw to third and sliding in safely, and then stealing second late will be Simpson. He'll slide in. And so now the count's 1-2, and Sudden Sunshine has taken third base, which has allowed another run, the other runner in Simpson, to get to second. So base hit now can give the Eights the lead. Counts 1-2. 1-2 pitch here from Schmall. Getz will foul that one over to the first base dugout. It ricocheted off the railing and went back out towards the first baseman for Latham to grab. Sunshine had seen something from Schmall that he got a great jump. The throw was a little bit offline. I think it took the catcher by surprise as well. Getz will line this out towards left center field. That's going to get down and give the Eights the lead all the way out to the wall. Getz will be on his way to second. Both runs will score. It's a 2 RBI double for Dawson Getz. And for the first time today, Post Eights is on top 7-6. Who says you need to bunt anyway? Double home 2 runs. RBI is at 6 and 7 on the season for Getz, who is now 2 for 2. Been on base all 3 times. So shuffle by in the top of the 5th will have a chance to work with the lead. Ridge linebacker and RBI ground out to the plate. First pitch is taken for strike 1. He's 0 for 2, flew out to the center fielder, and then RBI ground out in the bottom of the 3rd. Got the first of 4 runs home in the inning. Pickoff attempt and back in, diving safely as Getz over at second. The Eights were down by 5 in the bottom of the third. And you tell a team, and you see a team for post A. There's a swing and a foul tip into the mitt for strike 2. The last 2 seasons, a post A team was down by 5 runs, pretty much ball game over. Didn't have the firepower, very young team, didn't have the experience. As Leinbach will sky this right field. It'll be a long run down the line. Catch will be made by the right fielder. Tagging from second as Getz. It will get into the dugout, and that will score another run. The throw was wide of the third baseman. It took a high hop right into the third base dugout. And it will be a sac fly and a throwing error from the right fielder to make it an 8-6 ball game. And there's nobody on now with 1 out. Great job by Getz to tag up and score. Does not go for an RBI for Leinbach. There's now 1 down. And again, another error by Westco. And it's a 8-6 lead here for the Eights here in the bottom of the 4th inning. First pitch will be at the bottom of the zone for strike 1. Should have only 1 out. They have 2 outs. There's only 1 out. Sun and Shine, Charlie Simpson, and Dawson Getz have all scored, and there's been only 1 batter. I think he said 2 outs, but there's only 1. That'll bounce low, and the count's now 1-1. One pitch. Here's a chopper. That'll be a fair ball. The throw over to first will be in time. And there's 2 down. Or they say he's safe. That's only 2 outs. Only 2 outs because there's only been 5 guys that come to the plate and they've had 3 runs score. Yeah, there are 2 outs. But a great play from the third baseman as Grasmick made that play behind the bag in foul territory, but it was a fair ball. And a good stretch from Latham over at first base to record the second out. And O'Brien now 1 for 2 with an RBI sac fly. And we'll bring up Grayson Hunsley, who's 2 for 2 with an RBI. Hits with nobody on base with 2 away. First pitch over for strike 1. Didn't take long to make sure that was all corrected, and that easily was fixable. The swing and a miss, the count's now 0-2, and it worked out well too with nobody on base. That you didn't have to worry about the fact that whether it was 2 outs or 1, the play was made, nobody was on. Whether the inning was over or not didn't matter because nobody was going to be moving from the base pass. 0-2 pitch will miss low and away for ball 1. So 1-2 count here to Grayson Hunsley. J.J. Buckles is on deck, but an 8-6 lead here for post 8. That'll miss low, and the count's 2-2. 7 runs in the last 2 innings for the Eights, who are down 6-1 going into that bottom of the third. Here's a line shot. That's a 3 for 3 first game here for Hunsley. Was in search of that first hit of the summer. And they've kind of piled in now after getting that first hit. 3 for 3 in game number 1 of this Veterans Classic. And it's now J.J. Buckles, who is 0 for 1 with a strikeout, walked in the 3rd inning. We're not in any type of being close to this point, but there is, because of the tournament, to make mention of it, that there is an 8-run rule instead of a 10-run rule after 4.5. Of course, post 8's only up by 2, so they have to score 6 times. But if they would do that, they would have a chance to then end in the top of the 5th inning. Don't foresee that being used in this game. This will get away a little bit from the left side of the catcher, Baird, and easily to second. Reading it well was Hunsley. So Grayson Hunsley's now at second, and it counts 1-1. Here to J.J. Buckles. 2 walks, then a 2 RBI double from Dawson Getz. Fly out to right fielder for Leinbach, and the throw when Getz was tagging from second to third got away from the third baseman, and it bounced into the third base dugout, allowing Getz to score. So another 3 runs here in the inning after scoring 4 in the bottom of the third. 1-1 pitch is upstairs, and the count's 2-1. Two-one pitch. Buckles takes it upstairs, and the count's 3-1. Porter Hunsley is waiting on deck. That'll be his first at bat. He came in to center field as when Scheffelbein went to the mound, and he's hitting in place of Nolan Peterson, who was the DH in this first game. 3-1 pitch to Buckles. That one's at the knees for a strike. Couldn't pull the trigger. Buckles, though, 3-1 count, looking for maybe one spot. Not in that right spot that you want to swing at, so the count's now full. Again, a base hit can make this a 3-run lead here for Post 8. 3-2 pitch from Schmall. That'll be outside for ball 4, and it's now first and second, and it will allow Porter Hunsley to the plate. 8th man to come to the plate here in the bottom of the 4th. We can officially close the book now on the pitcher in Rector. He gave up 6 hits, 7 runs. 5 of those were earned. In 3 innings of work, 5 walks and a strikeout. That one's over for strike 1 to Porter Hunsley. Through 81 pitches did Rector. Porter Hunsley so far in the young summer. Looking at the wrong Hunsley. He is 1 for 5 to this point. 0-1 pitch. That one would be grounded foul, third base line. Coach Iverson goes to make the play in front of the third baseman and grass, making the count's now 0-2. Does have a run scored, looking for that first RBI. 556 on-base percentage, 756 OPS for Porter Hunsley, who throws left and bats right. 0-2 pitch. Chopper, left side. It'd be a tough play for the shortstop. The throw to first, not going to be in time, and Hunsley beats it out. An infield single to load the bases for Carter Scheffelbein. Good hustle from the rising sophomore. And it extends the inning out to Scheffelbein, who was 1 for 3. He led off the first. He ended the second and into the third inning. And now let's see if he can change his fortune with 2 outs, with the 2-out hitting. Scheffelbein was hitting .500 with runners in scoring position. Does have a 2-out RBI. We'll see if he can get a base hit to score at least 1, if not 2. Like an eephus pitch that came in there from Schmall that dropped in for a strike, and the count's 0-1. The base is loaded and 2 away here in the bottom of the 4th. 8-6 lead for the Eights. That'll be taken for a strike. The count's now 0-2. That was kind of a little bit of a quick stop there from Schmall. We've seen 3 different balks be called. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Trying to rip a fastball by Scheffelbein, and he will turn on it. He was out in front of it and ends up being fouled on the third base line. And the count remains at 0-2. Scheffelbein now on the mound. He is the pitcher of record after Hudson Stosher went the first 3 innings, with the Eights tying the game up. Stosher's off there. One will be bouncing off the plate, and a run's going to come in to score to make it a 9-6 ball game. So an 0-2 pitch that is looked like it bounced off the plate over the top of Barrett. And it scores another run on a wild pitch to make it a 9-6 lead here for Post 8, and still 2 guys in scoring position as Buckles is over to third and Porter Hunsley now at second, as Grayson Hunsley was the one that came in to score. 1-2 pitch. That one's high and outside. Now 2-2. Deuces are wild here in the 4th inning. 2 on and 2 out, and a 2-2 pitch upcoming here to Carter Scheffelbein. Small delivers. Shufflebein ground ball to the third baseman. It'll be fielded by Grasmick. His throw to first will be in time. That will retire the side. And it will send us to the 5th inning, but the Eights have their first lead, scoring another 4 runs in the inning. On 3 hits, there was an error, and 2 men left on base. To the top of the 5th, Post State leads at 9-6 over Westco. Back in a minute on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Hey you. Are you at a job that is fulfilling, has good benefits to support you or a family today, and retirement goes down the road? If you just said no, listen up. CHS River Plains is hiring operations personnel, drivers, and custom applicators at several locations. These come with a knockout affordable benefit package for you and the whole family. Apply to a job with CHS River Plains and up your benefits straight up. To apply, visit us online at chsriverplains.com or stop in at one of our locations. CHS is an equal opportunity employer.
Larry Fry Heating and Cooling has a new name. Kruger Climate Systems has acquired Larry Fry Heating and Cooling, but it's still the same great service. Your friend Larry Fry is still a manager, and his dedication to providing you with outstanding service remains unwavering. The same quality products and services you have come to expect from Larry Fry Heating and Cooling will continue under the new leadership of Kruger Climate Systems. You can still reach us at 605-224-9548 or email us at ryan@krugercontracting.com. Kruger Climate Systems, your certified Trane and Mitsubishi dealer in Central South Dakota.
Top of the 5th, a 9-6 lead for Pierre over the Westco Zephyrs and American Family Insurance Brittany Shufflebein scoreboard. And it is going to be 6, 7, and 8. Dawson Barrett, Owen Latham, and Blake Grasmick. The first 3 hitters. George Small, who is now pitching. Again, they're hitting for the pitcher, obviously, in Legion Baseball. That's where you use your DH. So Schmall not in the lineup. But Dawson Barrett, the catcher, he has walked twice so far, 0 for 0. As the Eights are going through the 4th time through the lineup. This is still the 3rd time through the lineup for the Westco Zephyrs. Obviously, Shufflebein the first man to get through 4 times. He's hit in every single inning. Here's the first pitch. They're going to get him to come to the plate with nobody out or leading off an inning or something. Don't come to the plate with 2 outs. He's 1 for 4 today, leading off the first with a single. And then he's been the 3rd out in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th inning at the plate. That pitch will miss, and the count's now 1-1. His attention right now is trying to get 9 more outs in this ball game and limit the amount of runs scoring by the Westco Zephyrs. Here's the 1-1 pitch. There's a tough swing there from Dawson Barrett, and the count's now 1-2. I don't think he wanted to, but couldn't hold up. And now the count is 1-2 here to Dawson Barrett. Shufflebein delivers the 1-2 pitch. That'll miss low, and the count's 2-2. Another shutdown inning here for the Eights. They got one in the top of the 4th after scoring 4 runs. Be another big 0 after scoring runs in the bottom of the 4th if they can get one here in the top of the 5th. 2-2. Swing and a miss. There's a strikeout for Shufflebein. 1 down here in the top of the 5th inning, and it brings up the number 7 man and Owen Latham. Latham's ground out to Dawson Guest, the shortstop, in both of his at-bats. But his last at-bat was an RBI ground out. At that point, made a 5-1 lead for Westco. And the Zephyrs added another run with a wild pitch to make it a 6-1 lead through 2.5 innings. First pitch will miss low for ball 1 from Shufflebein. But 3 RBIs straight in a row for the Eights in the bottom of the 3rd from Leinbach, O'Brien, and Grayson Hunsley. There's a swing and a miss, 1-1. And then a wild pitch, an error that made a 6-5 game in that 3rd inning. And then a 2 RBI double from Dawson Getz, which gave the Eights the lead. Another throwing error that scored another run, and a wild pitch scored the 4 runs in the bottom of the 4th inning to make it a 9-6 lead for the Eights. Counts 2-1. Here to Owen Latham. 2-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Latham back foot was moving out of the box. He took that swing, and the count goes now 2-2. Good off-speed pitch there from Shufflebein. Shufflebein shaking off 3 to 4 different pitches. Now he'll find the one he wants. 2-2 pitch, grounded back up the middle. Getz will field behind the bag at second. His throw to first. Slick fielding by Dawson Getz retires Owen Latham. And there's 2 down here in the top of the 5th inning. And it brings up Blake Grasmick. Grasmick is 0 for 1 with a walk in the 2nd and a fly out to left in the 3rd. Can you get those clean hops, but Getz got a good jump. Able to field it behind the bag and a step and throw to Buckholz. As the first pitch is over for strike 1 to Grasmick. So far, just 1 walk by Scheffelbein. That was to Thatcher Tamala. As he's retired, the other 5 guys he has faced in the batting order. That one's fouled back, and the count's 0-2, and Scheffelbein a strike away from 1-2-3 inning. From the windup delivers the 0-2 pitch. That's upstairs. And it's now 1-2. Again, Pierre will play Laramie, Wyoming in game number 2. That'll be coming up after this one concludes. And then they'll play Friday night against Post 22. 1-2 pitch. Outside, and the count's 2-2. In between games, as we are accustomed to doing, we will hear from News Director Zach Nelson. We'll turn into more of his 12 o'clock news instead of a 5 o'clock news. 2-2 pitch. It'll be fouled back again. Staying alive, it is Blake Grasmick. We'll have his news in between games. Fill you in on what's happening around the Pierre and Fort Pierre area and surrounding communities. 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss, and Scheffelbein will get 2 strikeouts in the inning and a 1-2-3 5th inning. We head to the bottom of the 5th, a 9-6 lead for Post 8 over Westco. Back in a minute on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Step up to the plate with Kathy Sunshine Properties in Pierre, your go-to for buying, selling, and finding your perfect home. Whether you're looking for a cozy cottage or a spacious family home, Kathy Sunshine Properties has you covered. We're committed to helping you make your next big move, on the field or in your life. Ready to find your dream home? Call Kathy Sunshine Properties at 605-224-5588. Your home run in real estate.
AGE Corporation has been building South Dakota for over 60 years. For all your site work, construction, and crane needs, AGE is there for you. If you need a boat dock and dock lighting, AGE has what you need. Visit their website, agecorp.com, or give them a call at 223-2732. AGE Corporation, providing high-quality services without sacrificing safety. Visit agecorp.com or call 223-2732.
Bottom of the 5th, 9-6 on the American Family Insurance Brittany Scheffelbein scoreboard as the Eights have the lead and are hitting to open up an inning with the lead for the first time in this game. And it will be 2, 3, and 4, just like it has been in the 3rd, 4th, and now 5th inning. Sun and Shine, Charlie Simpson, and Dawson Getz. How about another 4 spot in this inning? You've done it in the 3rd and the 4th inning, starting off with 2, 3, and 4. Let's say you can't do that for a 3rd straight inning. Take a 13-6 lead. You might as well add on one more, make it a 5-run inning, and you can end the ball game in the 5th if that would be the case. Here's the first pitch to Sun and Shine from George Small, and that will be fouled back at a play for strike 1. Later tonight, we've got game 1 of the NBA Finals between Oklahoma City and Indiana. Coverage will start at 6:30 and tip-off's 7:30. That is Central Time. If you're making your way out to Rapid for the weekend, that's not the same time. This will be a grounded, that will roll foul. It bounced its way foul off the spin off the bat from Sun and Shine. The count's now 0-2. Tomorrow night is game 2 of the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, but we won't have that one for you. We might still have it for you. If it goes like it did last night, which was Leon Draisaitl getting the game-winning goal in overtime for the Edmonton Oilers, if we have an overtime game or maybe just a later game, we can get you out for the final couple minutes of regulation. Again, it all depends on how quick the game goes, but we'll have post 8 and post 22 at 8 o'clock Central Time tomorrow night. Counts 1-2 here to Sudden Sun and Shine. No miss inside, and the count's 2-2. So those will be what's kind of upcoming, and then Sunday night, we'll obviously have games Saturday afternoon and then Sunday. But Sunday night we'll have the NBA Finals again. Here's a slow roller, bobbled by the shortstop. The throw will be wide. They'll get to, and now Sunshine's got to get back to first. He started to make that move to second, so he had to slide his way back to first base, thinking the ball was maybe going to get out of play. And so the runner is safe over at first base. It'll be a throwing error by the shortstop. They're talking about if it went out of play or not. I don't think it did. So it will keep Sunshine over at first base. But it'll be an error to the shortstop. And Felix, the third error now by Westco. And Sunshine has found a different way to get on base to lead off the third, fourth, and fifth inning now. First pitch will be upstairs for ball one to Charlie Simpson. He led off the third with an infield single towards the shortstop in the hole to Oscar Felix. He walked, lead off the fourth, and now he reaches on an error to lead off the fifth inning. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Runner takes off. That'll be taken for a strike. The throw to second, the slide, the tag. They got him out at second. Sunshine is thrown out trying to steal. That's the first time that he's been retired in any of the 3 innings that he has led off and got on base. As there's now 1 out, nobody on, and a 1-1 count to Charlie Simpson. Good throw from Dawson Barrett. And the tag applied by the second baseman, Sabala. And there's 1 down here at the bottom of the 5th. Simpson will sky this out left field. It's going into foul territory, but the left fielder will get underneath it, make the catch, and Berta retires Simpson. And there's 2 quickly down here in the bottom of the 5th inning. And so it brings up Dawson Getz, who has been on base all 3 times. He walked in the first, singled in the third, and had a 2 RBI double in the 4th inning. That single was a bunt single for Dawson Getz. Been no clean inning for Westco. That first pitch is over for strike 1 to Getz. The leadoff man has been on base all 5 innings for the Eights. Obviously, this time, the leadoff man was retired, trying to steal second. As Getz will take ball 1, evens the count at a ball and a strike. But he had 5 guys come to the plate in the first and second innings before then hitting all 9 guys in the order in the third and fourth, scoring 4 runs each time. That'll come inside. The count's 2-1 here to Getz. Be 9-1-2 for Westco in the top of the 6th. 2-1. Getz will foul that one away. Back to the screen. The count's 2-2. 9 runs, 9 hits, and an error for post 8. 6 runs, 4 hits, and 3 errors for Westco. The 1 error does not come back to hurt Westco, being that Sunshine was thrown out trying to steal second. 2-2 will miss outside. The count's now full at 3-2 from George Schmall to Dawson Getz. Nobody on and 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th. Payoff pitch. There's a sharp ground ball right side. How about a 3-for-3 day for Dawson Getz? It gets underneath the glove of the right fielder. Getz will make his way to second. That'll be the 4th error by Westco. A single and error gets into scoring position. And we'll see if Rich Leimbach can drive him in for his second RBI. 2 errors in the inning. Again, obviously that's not going to affect, the first error doesn't affect the outcome of the inning, but the second error could come into Hertz for for Westco. We've got a mound visit right now, and we'll see what Coach Liptak wants to do. I think it's just a mound visit to kind of slow things down, or just to see where Schmall's at on how they want to play this out. So the runner on at second with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th. And it's Rich Leimbach. Leimbach is 0 for 3 with an RBI ground out. Not saying that there's going to be anything on, but there might be some kind of pickoff attempt to see if they can maybe get Dawson Getz. No, they won't do it this time. First pitch is over for strike one. Thought maybe that they would say we're going to act like we fired into center field and without actually throwing the ball and maybe get Getz on his way to third and an easy tag out. Just by the way they're kind of looking over towards second base. Leimbach will sky this out towards center field. Mendez is there. He will make the catch and retire the sign, so both errors don't come back to haunt Westco in this fifth inning. No runs on 1 hit, 2 errors, and 1 man left on base. 5 complete here at Rapid City, and a 9-6 lead for Pierre over Westco in the Veterans Classic. Back in a minute on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
As community bankers, BankWest employees are deeply committed to supporting local causes, growing the local economy, and creating local opportunities. At a time when you can bank anywhere, we hope you choose BankWest. We'll be your financial partner for the long haul, helping you and your community achieve financial success. BankWest. Convenient, connected, committed. Member FDIC.
Are you a farmer in the Highmore area? Do you need a trusted partner for your grain and agronomy needs? Look no further than AgTegra. AgTegra is built on a legacy of farmer-owned cooperatives, providing superior service and relentless innovation for generations. We're committed to your success and the safety of our employees and members. For your grain needs, call Chance Scott at 605-846-1099. And for all your agronomy needs, reach out to Cole Hamlin at 605-871-9572. AgTegra. Growing together for generations.
Top of the 6th, it is 9-6 for Post State over the Westco Zephyrs. As it will be 9-1-2 for the Westco Zephyrs. Andrew Kleiner, Eric Sabala, and Oscar Felix. He might reach his base. Jerome Mendez, who's already hit a 2-run homer in that top of the first inning. First pitch swinging by Kleiner, and he'll swing and miss underneath that first pitch fastball, and the count's 0-1. Sturgis and Gary, Nebraska have not started their game over the post 320 field, which, again, tells you how nice it is that we're playing on all turf. You have not had to worry about the playing surface other than being a little bit wet, maybe a little bit more slick, and you already have to start your slide early. Maybe start it a little bit earlier. There's a 3-pitch strikeout and a swing and a miss from Kleiner. Third strikeout of the ball game now for Shufflebein. There's one down here in the top of the 6th inning. And it's back to the top of the order for Eric Sabala. Sabala is 1 for 3 with a 2 RBI single in the top of the 2nd, which made it a 4-1 game at that point for Westco. They found themselves now being down by 3 here in the top of the 6th. First pitch, top of the zone for ball 1, just above the zone for ball 1, excuse me. The 8s will have 6, 7, and 8 due up in the bottom of the 6th inning. And they will be hopefully trying to extend their lead farther from a 3-run advantage to however it needs to be. It can't be more than 8 because the game would end with an 8-run rule. So they could score up to 5 times right now in the bottom of the 6th inning. That want to be fouled away by Sabala, and the count's now 1-2 to the leadoff man in the batting order. Again, 1 for 3, struck out in the first and flew out to the center fielder and Shufflebein in the third. Where Shufflebein is now on the mound, and the 1-2 pitch will miss low for 2-2 count. Again, our second game is scheduled for 12:30 Central Time, 11:30 Mountain Time. Barring anything happening, would assume that won't be delayed at all. That one just misses outside. Shufflebein almost had his first backwards K and his 4th strikeout, but it does fill the count up 3-2. Payoff pitch upcoming here from Shufflebein. Curveball that froze Sabala, actually backed him away, and it did miss inside for the second walk issued by Shufflebein. And a runner on at first with 1 away, and it's now Oscar Felix. Ground ball gets you right back out of the inning. Here's the first pitch That'll be upstairs for ball one. And again, where Shufflebein is on the mound right now, outside of having really fast couple of this 6th inning and then in the 7th inning, most likely wouldn't be able to come back on Sunday. He'd have to stay, I believe, under 50 pitches, somewhere around there. I'd have to go back and check. To only have 2 days off. Maybe 65. If he stays under 65, he can come back and pitch on Sunday. 1-1. That one's out towards right field. Long run coming in. Catch is made. The throw back from first. It will be a double play, and that'll get out of the inning. The runner on first, and Sabala took off towards second. Did not come back to first in time, in a 9-3 double play to get out of the inning. The ground ball was going to get you out of the inning, but the fly ball will get you out of the inning. So no runs, no hits, no errors, and no one left on base. To the bottom of the 6th we go, at a 9-6 lead for Post 8 over Westco. Back in a minute on KCCR. Watching it on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Hello, I'm Pastor Jeff Lathrop of Pierre First and Methodist Church, and I'd like to invite you to join us in person for worship on Sunday mornings at 8:30 a.m. or 11 a.m. You can also join us on Facebook Live or on KCCR 1240 AM or 98.9 FM for our Sunday morning broadcast at 11 a.m. Come worship with us at First and Methodist Church, where you will find open hearts, open minds, and open doors.
When you're in town for the big game, why not stay where the view is just as great as the action? American in Fort Pierce sits right on the river, offering beautiful scenery, relaxing comfort, and easy access to the ballpark. After a day at the Diamond, there's nothing better than unwinding by the water, and the American always hits it out of the park. Stay by the river. Stay in comfort. Call 605-223-2358 to book your room today. American, where the river meets relaxation.
It is the bottom of the 6th inning, and Rowan Spearman is now on the pitch for Westco as he tries to keep this a 9-6 disadvantage going into the 7th inning. And we look at the stats from George Schmall, who threw 47 pitches, so he's available to come back still in this tournament. Through 2 innings, giving up 4 hits, 2 runs, both of them earned, with 1 walk and without a strikeout. So now Rowan Spearman, that's the only 2 guys that were on the bench were Schmall and Spearman. So they have nobody left on the bench in this game. They've used everybody. And outside of, of course, if you have some kind of an injury, you can put Spearman into the batting order in place of whatever it is. But the DH then would also have to come into the game and be a fielder. But Parker O'Brien, Grayson Hunsley, and J.J. Buckles will lead things off 6, 7, and 8 for the 8s here in the bottom of the 6th. O'Brien, he is 1 for 2. Singled in the 2nd inning, sacrifice fly in the 3rd, and ground out to the 3rd baseman in the 4th. As he hits here in the 6th, bouncing in for ball 1. The first time that Carter Shufflebein has not hit in an inning. He had hit in all 4 innings previously. He's the only guy that did that. Until it only took 4 guys to get out of the inning in the bottom of the 5th. That'll miss low. The count's 2-0. Good velocity right now from Rowan Spearman. Obviously, he's only thrown 2 pitches, but it is 2-0. As Spearman has thrown 2 innings so far. That was over for a strike. The count's 2-1. This is his 4th appearance overall, but he's only thrown 2 innings. Gave up 3 hits, 9 runs, all of them earned. 9 walks, 2 strikeouts. So the ERA is inflated at 31.5 and the whip at 6. There's a swing and a miss by O'Brien that counts 2-2. Which, outside of seeing exactly what games he has thrown, you would assume that one was just an outlier to what Spearman can do. 2-2 pitch. That'll bounce in, and the count's now 3-2 here to O'Brien. But the side effect of it all is you can't walk a lot of guys, and Spearman's got 9 walks in those 2 innings of work so far. And that will be ball 4 to O'Brien on the payoff pitch, and the leadoff man is on for the 5th time in 6 innings for the Eights. And it brings up Grayson Hunsley. So in his 3 appearances, his last 2 have been hitless. He gave up 7 runs in his first appearance against Cheyenne. On 3 hits, he had 4 walks. He's walked 3 and 2 in his last 2 appearances. This will be slipping out of the hand and will be a wild pitch that will advance O'Brien out to second. The home plate umpire says, yeah, we might need a new baseball for you. Might have been a curveball that slipped out of the hands, but overall, and he'll toss that baseball over towards the third base dugout to be wiped down. So probably a wet baseball that came through. So 375 batting average against as well for Rowan Spearman. But again, his last 2 outings, he did not give up a hit. That pitch will miss low for ball 2. Here to Grayson Hunsley, who was 3 for 3 with 3 singles. Singled home a run in the 3rd inning. Post 8 with 10 hits. That's their 2nd straight game with 10-plus hits. 2-0. That'll miss low, and now 3-0. And again, Post 8 will play Laramie, Wyoming, coming up in the 2nd game. Would assume that the Eights will probably be the home team, just that Laramie will take the spot of Westco, and maybe they'll still flip for home and away, regardless of dugout. 3-0 pitch. That'll miss for ball 4, a 4-pitch walk. 4th time that Hunsley has been on base. Remains 3 for 3 in this game, and it's 1st and 2nd with nobody out on back-to-back walks. And here's J.J. Buckles, who has also walked twice so far. 0 for 1 with a strikeout. He's the only strikeout victim for the Eights, hitting-wise, through 5 innings. Base hit could extend the lead for the Eights. Showing bunt, though, is Buckles. That will be a wild pitch as Buckles pulled his bat back, and it's now 2nd and 3rd. And if Buckles had laid down the bunt, he was probably safe at first because the second baseman and Sabala was holding the runner on at second base. The first baseman, Latham, was charging hard, and nobody would have been over at first base. With a wild pitch, it's a moot point for everything because the runners move up to 2nd and 3rd, and now Buckles can drive in both runs. Infield will come in all the way around. They need to keep this a 3-run deficit going to the 7th inning. Here's a high chopper, and it's not going to get the run home. The throw to first will be right there on time from Felix, and there is 1 out. A big first out to retire Buckles. Ball was not chopped high enough in the air for Parker O'Brien to try and score. He got a little bit of a higher bounce. O'Brien breaking right away and reading it well. He could score, but even if he reads it well, it's still going to be a close play at the plate. And up by 3, you want to make sure that you are scoring on something that is hit. Here's the first pitch will miss low for ball 1. So ground ball has to get through. If you're tied or down by 1, maybe you force the issue with 1 out. Otherwise, with a 3-run lead, it was a smart play for O'Brien to stay at third base on that high chopper, more of a medium chopper. Counts 1-1 to Porter Hunsley. 1-1 to Hunsley. That one's at the knees for a strike. The count's 1-2. He's singled in his lone at-bat so far. Here's the 1-2 pitch. That's upstairs, and the count's now 2-2. Runners at 2nd and 3rd with 1 away here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Hunsley swings and misses for strike 3. And there's now 2 down here in the bottom of the 6th, and it will bring up the top of the order in Carter Shufflebine. So Shufflebine to the plate with 2 outs and trying to extend the lead for himself. A little bit extra cushion to that top of the 7th inning. First pitch is swung on and missed for strike 1. He is 1 for 4. Led off the bottom of the first with a base hit. There's been the 3rd out in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th innings. Fly out in the 2nd and 3rd, and then a ground out to the 3rd baseman in the 4th. That one's a ground ball that is going to be foul off the hands of Coach Iverson over at 3rd base. And the count is now 0-2. Leading away from 3rd is O'Brien. At 2nd is Grayson Hunsley. That pitch will just get away from the catcher Barrett, but not far enough for O'Brien to score. And again, where O'Brien stands at 3rd, and that ball getting away to the right side of Barrett, and behind him, the Shufflebine, Barrett, and the umpire blocking the view of where O'Brien can see that ball at. And again, it didn't get far enough anyway for O'Brien to score. He'd have a great jump and a lot of speed to try and score. 1-2 pitch. That's lined to the left field for a base hit. 1 run will come in to score. It's going to be bobbled out in left field, but 2 runs will come in to score. It's a 2 RBI single with 2 outs for Shufflebine to make it an 11-6 lead for the Eights here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Good 2-strike hitting, good 2-out hitting for Shufflebine. Now 2 for 5. And drives in RBIs number 2 and 3 on the season. And a 5-run advantage here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th inning. First pitch is upstairs for ball 1 to Sutton Sunshine. 1 for 3 so far, singled in the 3rd, ground out in the 1st, and reached on an error in the 5th inning. Drew a walk in there as well in the 4th. He has scored twice. Does have 2 steals as well. Was thrown out trying to steal, though, last inning. That'll be fouled over to the 3rd base dugout. Bounced off the netting in front of those guys for post 8. One of those tweeners that reach your arms out to make the play, and then where it was going to hit, you didn't really know where it was going to ricochet, so a lot of guys scattered where that ball was bouncing. This will be bouncing in, and a good read there from Shufflebine, who will take second as Barrett stopped it but had to spin around, and by the time that he spun around and set his feet, Shufflebine was 3/4 of the way to second. I think it was more of a stolen base. It's not a wild pitch or a pass ball. It didn't get to the backstop. This will be scooped up again by Barrett. It's now 3-1. Shufflebine stays at second, but not far enough away off the plate. And Shufflebine will have to relace the cleats out at second, or turf shoes out at second, being a turf field. Not wearing any metal spikes out there. 11 runs, 11 hits, and 1 error for post 8. Leading by 5, a 3-1 pitch. Shufflebine takes off. It'll be ball 4, and it was dropped by Barrett. Shufflebine was on his way to first base. If Barrett had not dropped the ball, could have been a batter's interference. And so now it's 1st and 3rd, and I believe we're going to have another pitching change. Looks like maybe the first baseman and Latham will come to the mound. And you probably also at the same point seeing how many pitches that has been thrown from Spearman. Then tells you that you might have to take him out so you can have pitchers available for Sunday, or maybe even Saturday again, as you're listening to KCCR Pierre Riverfront Broadcasting Station. We will tell you the changes coming up here in just a moment. Back in a minute, you're listening to Post 8 Baseball on KCCR. You're watching it on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Step up to the plate with Overhead Door Company of Pierre. Like your favorite team, we deliver reliability, strength, and top-notch performance. For over 100 years, Overhead Door has been the most respected name in the industry. From commercial or residential repairs to full upgrades, our team of technicians stand ready to provide winning results. Don't let a faulty garage door strike you out. Look for the signature red ribbon and call the industry MVP at 605-224-6200. Bring your garage door game to the big leagues.
Is your roof ready for the next South Dakota storm? Don't wait till it's too late. For over 25 years, Karsten Erickson Roofing and Construction has been serving Central South Dakota with quality roofing and construction. He has now added gutters. We offer dependable service, guaranteed workmanship, and no unnecessary flash or fuss. Just reliable protection for your home. Karsten Erickson Roofing and Construction. Experience you can trust. Call today, 605-280-8133. Karsten Erickson Roofing and Construction, serving Central South Dakota for over 25 years.
So now it's going to be Owen Latham on the mound for Westco Zephyrs as they do some readjusting on the defensive side of things, as Caleb Berta will come to first base. Andrew Kleiner, the DH, will move out to the outfield, looking like he's going to be in left field. And so now it's the fourth pitcher being used, and the DH is gone for the remainder of the game, which would be the top of the seventh, unless the Eights are able to score another 3 runs in this sixth inning. They do have first and third with 2 outs. So if Charlie Simpson goes deep, they could end the ball game here, and the only man that Latham would see. But we can't tell you, we can't tell you the full line for Rowan Spearman. But we can tell you what he potentially could have on the line score, because he only goes 2/3 of an inning. He throws just 26 pitches, so he's available to come back tomorrow even. But he throws 2/3 of an inning with 3 walks, a strikeout, gave up 1 hit, and he is giving up 2 runs, but he is on the hook for the 2 guys on base right now at first and third. And now Owen Latham, who has thrown 10 1/3 innings. This will be his 5th appearance, 3rd relief appearance, 0-1 record-wise. 12 hits, 14 runs, 10 of them earned. 13 walks, 13 strikeouts, an ERA at 6.77 and a whip at 2.42. And he deals with Charlie Simpson, his first batter. First pitch is over for strike 1. Simpson is 0 for 2, a ground out and a fly out, but he has walked twice. And he's trying to extend this lead for the Eights after a 2 RBI single with 2 outs for Carter Schuffelbein. See if they can get another 2-out RBI. This will bounce in front of the plate after it bounced off of Barrett. To second easily will go for Sonnenschein. And now Simpson can drive in another 2 runs. But again, a 5-run lead. Those 2 runs, they can mean a lot, but wouldn't end the ball game in the bottom of the 6th inning. But if Simpson gets on base and comes around to score, the game would end here in the 6th inning, as that one's over for strike 2. The count's 1-2. Wouldn't mind seeing a 3-run homer here to end the ball game. That'll bounce in to the left of Barrett, and again, Schuffelbein reading it well. Got a really good secondary lead, got a good jump. But blocked clean enough and close enough by Barrett. And Schuffelbein has to stay put at third. Here's a 2-2 now to Simpson. He'll foul that one, bounced off the umpire. And the count will remain at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Base hit would give the Eights their 3rd 4-run inning of the game. Could extend this out to a 7-run lead. 2-2. Simpson, ground ball up the middle. Will be fielded by the shortstop. The throw to first will keep the run to the man on first on the bag in Berta, and it will retire the side here in the bottom of the 6th inning. But another 2-run score on just 1 hit in the inning. There are no errors and 2 men left on base. We head to the top of the 7th. The Eights 3 outs away from an opening game win of the Veterans Classic, leading 11-6 over the Westco Zephyrs. Back in a minute on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Look, it's no secret that owning a vehicle can cause a lot of stress, and they get a lot of wear and tear on them through the extreme seasons we've grown to love. Graham Tire wants you to know that you can trust them with any problem that you have with your vehicle. Their ASE certified mechanics can make your AC cool again, or even just change your oil. They can look into and fix those noises that seem to come from nowhere and have you stressed out. Bring your car to Graham Tire so they can put your mind at ease. Graham Tire, your tire store next door.
Whether you're a first-time buyer looking for a home of your own or you have an eye on an investment property, First Fidelity Bank has the right mortgage for you. From a vacation home to building your dream house from the ground up. So stop by and get your mortgage loan from us. First Fidelity Bank. First class banking on a first name basis. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender. Online at ffb-sd.com.
Top of the 7th and a 11-6 lead on the American Family Insurance Brittany Shufflebein scoreboard. And the 8's 3 outs away from opening up the Veterans Classic with a win. Carter Shufflebein has been in relief the last 3 innings after Hudson Stosher went 3 innings. He has not allowed a hit, only 2 walks so far, as he looks to finish out the win for the 8s, which would be their second of the season, and put them 1-0 to open up the Veterans Classic, where they will take on the Laramie, Wyoming team next, scheduled for a 12:30 Central Time start. Being a turf field, you could probably get started around 12:30 because the 8s won't take infield. You can get Laramie warmed up, get them their IO, and get everything rolling. You could probably still get close to a 12:30 Central Time start. Obviously, it depends on how quick this 7th inning goes, because you got to get those 3 outs, and you got to make sure that Westco Zephyrs don't score 5 runs on you here in the top of the 7th. Counts 0-1 here to Jarrell Mendez, who was 1 for 2 with a 2-run homer. That pitch will miss low, and the count's 1-1. That's the same amount of pitches you've seen in the first 3 plate appearances was 2. He had a 2-run homer in the first pitch you saw, intentionally walked, and then flew out in the first pitch to the center fielder. And at that point was Porter Hunsley. As the count's now 1-2 after the foul ball was off the mask of Charlie Simpson. Eights are looking for their second win, which will be back-to-back. Get them to 2-3. Laramie will be a good team to face coming up next. Here's the 1-2 pitch. That'll be upstairs, and the count's 2-2. And again, post 22 and post 320, they will be the final game of the day on Sunday. So if the 8s would actually, be the top overall seed, well, that would be the championship game. This will be grounded over the left side. It'll be fielded by Grayson Hunsley. Good play there from Hunsley to make the play. Throw out Mendez, and there's one down here in the top of the 7th. And Thatcher Tamala will come to the plate. But unless they're facing 320, they won't play the last game of the day for the championship. They probably play at 2 o'clock here at the Fitz, or be 3 o'clock Central Time. First pitch will miss low for ball 1. But if they do face 320, regardless of where they're at, I believe they will end up being the last game of the day, which would be a 5 o'clock Central Time start. 1-0 pitch is upstairs, and the count's 2-0. Now, they could play as early as 10 a.m. Most likely not if they end up winning this game. That would be the bottom 2. Well, I guess they could still be one of the bottom 2 seeds. I would assume that they won't be, with just a win, they probably won't be the 7th or 8th seed. So we'll see where things stand. If they do play that first game, we'll have to be on the rock station. 2-1 pitch makes it 3-1. But otherwise, we'll be on KCCR because the church service will be at 11 a.m. till around noon. But it'll be a 12:30 Central Time earliest start if they're not one of the bottom 2 seeds. 2-1 pitch missing, or make that the 3-1 pitch was missing for ball 4. It'll be the second walk issued to Thatcher Tamala after he was 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts, gets 2 walks. And now is Caleb Berta, the first baseman, who was 1 for 3, singled in that top of the 3rd. This was a 6-1 Westco Zephyrs lead after 2.5. But the 8 scored 4 in the 3rd and 4 in the 4th before another 2 runs in the 6th inning. The first pitch will miss for ball 1. To take an 11-6 advantage and trying to cash in on their second win of the season. 1-0 pitch. That one's flown out towards right center field. Hunsley diving, and he makes the catch. An unbelievable diving grab going to the left for Porter Hunsley. The lefty makes an incredible catch out in right center field, and there's 2 down. And now it's Dawson Barrett's And the Eights are 1 out away from getting their second win of the season. How about that play by the rising sophomore? Great jump, making the diving catch out in right center field. First pitch will miss for ball one. That's a tough play for a lefty to go out to his left to make the catch. I mean, it's a tough play to make any diving catch in general, but when you're the backhanded play, there's another balk called. Shuffle by apparently didn't come set another time. That's the fourth balk that we've seen, 2 from each team. I'm not sure we'll see another 4 balks the rest of the season. But Hunsley making that catch, he made it look easy. Glasses came flying off the top of the hat. That one's now 2-0 the count here to Dawson Barrett. And a 5-run lead. Maybe a little bit easier to try and make that diving catch because you know if you miss it, you still got a 5-run advantage. But also on the flip side, it'd be easier just not go for the diving catch. That one's over for a strike. That counts 2-1. Because you don't have to risk it because you're up by 5. But that's an incredible catch by Hunsley. He doesn't play like he was a freshman this year in high school, as that one's over for a strike and that counts 2-2. Was big for the Pierre Governor football team in the fall. Again, another guy that's going to increase his role as a sophomore. And he's been everything great for the Governors, as there's a swing and a miss. Strikeout and the ball game. Roll Eights here in game number 1 of the Veterans Classic. They win 11-6. No runs, no hits, no errors, and a man left on base in the 7th. 11-6 our final score here in game 1 of the Veterans Classic. Back in 2 minutes to wrap up our first game. You're listening to Post 8 Baseball on KCCR and watching it on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Want technology solutions you can trust from a neighbor you know? Comtech, locally owned and serving Pierre and surrounding areas since 2009, is dedicated to keeping your home, farm, and business connected and secure. We offer a full range of services, from audio and video, security, surveillance, and networking with expert installation and support. Visit our storefront, call us at 605-224-4066, or visit our website, comtechplus.com, to experience the Comtech difference. Comtech, your local technology experts.
Hey, yo, Speedo's Lawn Care.
Hello. Say, my yard's in rough shape. It's got weeds, brown spots, and crabgrass.
Yeah, no problemo. What shade of green you need? We got 31 shades of green over here. Even the latest shade of septic tank grass green. That one just naturally gives off a glow.
Call the professionals at True Green. They know how to get your lawn healthy and keep it healthy. They guarantee it. All technicians are trained and certified.
Call True Green, 224-1916.
When you're looking for quality trash pickup services, look no further than Envirotech. 6 days a week, their trucks are on the road picking up trash, even holidays. They're also the place to contact for recycling services. Their friendly, professional staff is ready to assist with weekly pickups or even special pickups. Check out the website at envirotechwaste.com. Envirotech is locally operated. Call 224-4804. Envirotech Waste Services in Pierre, proud to support high school athletics.
With any dream, the wind won't always be at your back. The sun won't always be shining, and some rain is going to fall. American Family Insurance is like a good, solid roof that you can trust to protect your biggest dreams. With plans that could save you up to 23% when you bundle your home and auto. Also, you can continue to dream fearlessly, no matter what comes your way. American Family Insurance.
Visit mfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company assigned its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Contact the Brittany Shufflebine Agency, LLC, 224-6627.
As we welcome you back, it is a final score in Game 1 as Pierre knocks off Westco Zephyrs 11-6 on the American Family Insurance Brittany Shufflebine scoreboard. The Eights were down 6-1 after 2.5 innings. It was 2 runs in the first, second, and third inning for Westco. Pierre made it a 2-1 game in the first, but then down 6-1 And then it was an RBI ground down from Ridge Lineback, sac fly from O'Brien, and then Grayson Hunsley with an RBI single to make it a 6-4 ball game. Another wild pitch made it 6-5 after 3 innings. Then a 2 RBI double from Dawson Getz gave the Eights a 7-6 lead, and they never looked back, scoring another 2 runs in the 4th inning. And then Carter Schuffelbein ended up with another 2 RBI, 2-out single in the bottom of the 6th to make it 11-6 lead for the Eights. And he ends up as a winning pitcher as well, not allowing a hit with 3 walks and 4 strikeouts in the final 4 innings of work, picking up the win after Hudson Stosher threw 3 innings. And Schuffelbein will be able to pitch on Sunday now. He threw 58 pitches, so he was 2 away from not being able to pitch the rest of the tournament, having to need 3 days rest, but he could come back and pitch again on Sunday if needed. But Hudson Stosher through the first 3 innings, 4 hits, 6 runs, 6 walks, 3 strikeouts, but then no more hits for Westco the rest of the way. The Eights had 11 hits, 3 from Grayson Hunsley as he went 3 for 3 in the ball game, and then another 3 hits from Dawson Getz as well, driving in 2 runs. Hunsley had an RBI. And then Ridge Lineback had an RBI, Parker O'Brien with a base hit and an RBI, and then 2 RBIs for Carter Schuffelbein as the Eights get 11 hits for their 2nd straight game, and now are 1-0 against the Westco Zephyrs, and will try and go 2-0 today as they take on the Laramie, Wyoming team coming up a little bit after 12:30 as Laramie, obviously, they're taking the field and getting set to get warmed up and loosen up. Probably more looking at maybe 12:45 Central Time by the time we get this game rolling instead of the original 12:30, which is still better than what Post 320's field has because they have not started their games across the way. If they're going to try and play all 5 games, it's going to be a late night for those teams on the Post 320 field. But it is 11-6 win in Game 1 for the Pierre Post State, as we'll hear from News Director Zach Nelson coming up in the 12 o'clock hour, 12 o'clock news that we would usually have at this point on a Thursday, but we'll hear from him coming up in just a little bit. We'll come back and get you set for Game 2 between Pierre and Laramie on the way here in just a little bit. If you're watching on YouTube on KCCR Sports, we will end the live video. We'll come back with our second game broadcast live video on the way here in just a little bit. We'll have that for you as well here from the Fitz. Back in 4 minutes with News Director Zach Nelson and his 12 o'clock news. You're listening to Post State Baseball.